Hello, everybody. Now we're at the right scene. This is exactly where I want to be. It's time for spooky stories. And of course, we have our lovely pal RodKeel Gaming here, who has so graciously helped me collect all these stories for you. Do you like this little background I made? I made it really quick, so it's not super great,
It's
but
very sweet. It's very cute. Also, you cannot get rid of me. I have invaded your home like a rodent. And I will not leave.
yeah, we're kind of stuck with RodKill at this point, which I'm fine with. RodKill just like bangs on my keyboard all day,
Yeah, that's
mostly
my
looking
job.
for FNAF lore videos.
Yes.
It's what he does. It's what he does. The brain rot's gotten him.
One of these days I will make a FNAF lore stream and you can't stop me.
Oh no, no, you
Anyway,
can't do it.
that's
Also,
not what we're here for.
I'm not sure what my chat box is showing up. Quick, let me try. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna just put some emotes in the chat and see if they'll show up on my chat box. I adjusted the size. Got some borks in here.
Remote bork.
Okay, now it works. It is showing up. Good, good. I got worried for a second.
No
Okay,
bork.
but it is working. So now we must do some story time. So
Alright.
I've got a couple saved on Reddit here. They'll
Scary
start with
story time.
scary story
I was
time.
gonna say, would you like to start with one of the ones that you have selected?
Yeah, we can like alternate. I think that sounds like a good
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
So you'll
Alright.
get scary stories from the both of us.
Read me
Ooh.
a scary story, Nakara. I'm ready to get spooked.
Okay. Okay. Let me pull up my list here. All right. The first one I have saved. Okay. Also, I should also establish a warning. Like, if you're get upset by topics that include things like murder, gore, things like that, you probably shouldn't be here. Just a trigger
Mhm.
warning.
I would extend that list to things such as, self unalive and things like that as
Yes.
well as uses of the term insanity, psychosis. I notice that those come up a lot in internet horror. So just in general, if you know the kinds of things that come up in internet creepypastas and you know you're uncomfortable with it, skip this stream and we won't blame you. Take care
Yes.
of yourself.
Mental health is very important. I've
Yeah,
skimmed over
yeah.
most of these stories, so if there is anything I forgot to include, I am very sorry. But just you have been
Mhm,
warned. There are going to be spoopy topics, uncomfortable topics,
mhm,
perhaps.
mhm,
You didn't go to work
mhm.
today? Oh, and also, Ayo, is that Melict? All right. Anyway, I love you too. Thank you, Okami. All right. So this first story is called "See You Soon."
Oh, spook. Okay,
All right, everybody, get tucked in.
I'm ready. Mhm.
See you soon. That's what my fiance Mandy told me before she left for work that Tuesday morning. I never saw her alive again.
Bob, bob, bob.
I didn't know that it was even possible for a 27-year-old woman to have a heart attack, but the doctors told me that 1 in 5 cardiac events happen to people under the age of 40. If only Mandy had been walking down a busier street instead of the shady alley she took to work. If only she'd been able to get her phone out of her pocket to call for help. If only. The words felt tattooed on my brain. We'd been planning to open a bakery in November, but I couldn't manage it without her. And besides, like most things that reminded me of Mandy, our business idea now left a bitter taste in my mouth. Without realizing it, I transformed my apartment to a sort of shrine to our relationship. I spent my days working grueling 10-hour shifts as a package handler, and when I returned home, I wallowed in Mandy's photos, clothing, books, and records. I'd watch her favorite movies with a tall drink in hand, sipping until my mind drifted off far away and granted me a sort of ecstasy through oblivion. 2 years of my life passed by that way, like booze poured into a bottomless pit. It wasn't until I met Christina that things began to change. For starters, she got me out of my apartment and away from the bottle. She understood that I had a drinking problem long before I did, and it wasn't until the fourth or fifth time I saw that I realized our dates, for lack of a better word, never involved alcohol. We'd go to a carnival by the beach, a picnic in the hills, an old video game arcade. Christina was full of ideas. Of course, even 2 years later, I felt like I was doing something wrong by falling for someone else. Someone who wasn't Mandy. It was almost eerie how well Christina understood me. She knew I needed time and took things slowly. She didn't even
Oh, I
hold my.
just
Oh,
I just remembered this is a horror story because I was like sitting here like, good for you, King. Move on. Christine's got the best in mind for you. And then one brain cell went, this is a horror story, and he's now mentioning how well she knows him. This isn't
gotta
gonna
have the
go well.
slow burn. The slow burn. That's what makes
And
the
he
best ones. Ahem. All right. Anyway,
continue.
where were we? Yes. She didn't even hold my hand until our second month of going on excursions together. One morning, Christina came over without calling. She'd brought sturdy black trash bags and cleaning supplies. When I saw her
Oh,
standing on my doormat with that determined expression, I knew it was time. My apartment got its first deep clean in 2 years, and Christina helped me to get rid of the remembrances that I just didn't have the strength to throw away myself. In the end, I only kept one picture of Mandy, an image of her baking bread with me in the kitchen, her black clothes covered in flour, and a wide smile on her face. I felt a little guilty keeping it, and for a time I forgot about it altogether. It was like I could breathe again, like I'd woken up from a nightmare ridden nap. The first breath of air when I woke up tasted fresher somehow, and I felt blessed that Christina had seen me for who I could become instead of the depressed alcoholic I'd been when we met. Not long after we moved in together, Christina took me to a candlelit concert and a romantic dinner. When I asked what we were celebrating, she made a toast to the health of my future business. Even after all
oh,
I'd been through, she knew I still dreamed of being an entrepreneur. And that night was her way of pledging to support me while I set out on what could probably be a rough and uncertain road. Without Christina's help, I never would have reached out to my old contacts in the business world or attended so many startup conventions. Somehow, other entrepreneurs and investors seemed to take to me so much more seriously with Christina by my side. With two others, I eventually launched a small IT consulting firm. It was a far cry from the bakery I'd once imagined, but I was finally my own boss. Every year brought more success, and I knew I had Christina to thank for it. Her bright green eyes and warm smile were all I could think about as I stood in front of the jeweler's stand, trying to decide on an engagement ring. Something with emeralds, I thought, to match her eyes. My phone rang. The number was unknown, but as a consultant, I was used to getting calls from strangers.
I was
At
gonna say, when this going downhill? When is the like big like spook happening? I'm I'm waiting.
At first, I heard only the sound of roaring winds, as though the customer was calling from
Uh,
inside a sandstorm. They kept repeating the same phrase over and over, but I couldn't understand it. Not at first.
hmm.
Maybe I didn't want to understand it. But I knew those words, and that voice. See you soon. Mandy's voice grew louder and louder until it felt like her lips were less than an inch away, screaming into my ear, See you soon. See you soon. See you soon. I flung my
Uh,
phone away like it burned me. When I retrieved it from the carpet, the mysterious call had ended. Throughout the rainy drive home, I wondered who would play such a cruel trick. An old bully from high school? A dissatisfied client? It didn't make sense. In the end, I settled on two simple golden bands purchased from a different jeweler. After that strange call, the other shop seemed tainted somehow. Just driving past it gave me shivers. Christina said yes, as I knew she would, and everything went fine right up until the moment we got ready to cut the wedding cake. Words appeared in the white frosting, as though traced by an invisible finger. SEEYOUSO.
oh.
Acting on instinct, I grabbed a fistful of the icing letters and pressed it over Christina's mouth, to laughter and applause. Maybe it was a bad move. After all, Christina's one request for our wedding experience was that we not do the cake thing. But I didn't think that justified the look of pure disgust and hate she gave me in that moment. I'd
Oh.
never seen Christina so angry. Was Mandy trying to wreck my relationship from beyond the grave? Christina forced herself to sigh and smile, and gave me a taste of my own medicine. The cloying sweetness of cake on my lips forced the insane thought out of my mind. The band began to play, and the night went on without any further incidents. Christina and I signed our documents, filled out our life insurance forms, got listed on each other's bank accounts, and set out for our honeymoon. Also, thank you, Okami, for the resubscribe for 4 months. Holy crap, man. I see these numbers sometimes, and I'm just like, oh my god, people have subscribed to me for this long? Like a day. That's crazy. All right. Yet, yet Mandy's messages, if that's what they were, didn't stop. They showed up in the shower's steamed mirror, in my alphabet breakfast cereal, even the magnets on the refrigerator. It was unexplainable. There was no doubt about that. But once I got over the initial shock of seeing those fateful words, I realized that they could not be ignored as well. After all, they were just words. Oh, that they could be ignored as well. I had moved.
Sir, I'm sorry, sir. If you're getting messages from beyond the grave so often, you're like, I can just ignore this. I feel like that's a problem.
Not my alphabet breakfast cereal! No! Okay.
not my Campbell's alphabet soup. No. All right, continue.
I had moved on and needed to as well, ghost or not. A few weeks after Christina and I returned to California from our honeymoon in Italy, I had my first near-death experience. That morning, I was scheduled to meet a client at a restaurant along Highway 1, a beautiful but dangerous route that skirts the stormy cliff-lined coast. Maybe it was a trick of the mist, but as I was turning out of our neighborhood, I'd swear I saw someone standing in the middle of the road. It was only a black shape in the white fog, but it looked familiar. It looked like Mandy. I slammed on my brakes, or tried to. No matter how hard I pressed on the pedal, nothing happened. Rolled to a stop in a suburban yard and looked nervously out the window with my emergency flashers blaring. Oh, they must have forgot the eye. There was nothing outside but mist. Later, the mechanics would tell me that my brake line had been set up to fail. The phone calls and inexplicable writing had been one thing. Now, however, it seemed that Mandy's vengeful ghost was actually trying to kill me. Christina could tell that something was wrong. There was concern in her eyes when I got home that night. She did her best to try and cheer me up with red wine, a romantic evening by the fireplace, and a steak dinner, but I was too exhausted to enjoy it. I supposed it was the accumulated stress of the haunting, for that was what it was. I no longer had any doubts. That caused me to drift off to sleep so quickly after dinner. And when I did dream, I dreamed about Mandy. We were back in the run-down hardwood apartment that we'd shared back when I was still working on opening the bakery. It was a beautiful spring morning. Golden light shone through the open balcony doors. I turned over in the rumpled sheets, and even in my dream, I felt my blood run cold as I recognized Mandy's naked back beside me. Her messy dark brown hair, the rose tattoo on her spine, the scar on her shoulder from a bike accident. At the foot of the bed, and the closet door creaked open just a crack. I scrambled backwards in bed. The closet door opened wider, and the morning light seemed to dim. The darkness inside the closet seemed hungry. A pair of green eyes stared hatefully out at me from its depths. Beside me, Mandy pointed out the balcony window. She held a finger to her lips. See you soon. The closet door opened wide. Something enormous skittered forward. The hairy black legs of an enormous spider, its hideous bulk hungrily toward me. The spider had Christina's face. I woke up slumped in the passenger seat of the rental car the mechanic had given me. I was in the garage with the door shut and the motor running. My head ached from the fumes. I turned off the ignition, opened the garage door, and staggered into the house. If Mandy could manipulate my dreams, could she also move my body in my sleep? Christina slipped an arm under my shoulder and helped me to the kitchen table before disappearing to prepare some tea and call emergency services. Alone with my thoughts, I realized that I had to tell my wife what I was going through. Christina placed a warm cup of tea in front of me and I took a small sip, willing my foggy brain to put the words together in a way that wouldn't sound completely insane. Suddenly, my arm exploded in pain. Bloody letters appeared, carved into my skin by an unseen force. See you soon. Where was the emergency services? Hadn't Christina called them? My brain was too addled by the fumes. I couldn't think straight. And why was Christina holding a knife?
I fucking knew it.
As the bloody words had appeared on my arm, my hand had flailed wildly, knocking over the teacup. A faint scent of bitter almonds rose from the spilled liquid, and I finally realized the truth. It wasn't Mandy who tampered with my brakes. It wasn't Mandy who'd fed me sleeping pills with wine before placing me inside a running car in a sealed garage. It wasn't Mandy who'd put arsenic in my tea. Christina advanced on me, a razor-sharp knife in her hand and an insane smile on her lips. "You're tired," she cooed. "Your head hurts. Don't fight it. It it'll all be over soon." I stood woozily, knocking over the plates and dishes that had been my parents' wedding gift to Christina and I. They shattered on the floor as I staggered toward the door. Mandy's voice screamed into my left ear with such force that I dropped, clutching my head, and barely missed the shining edge of Christina's knife as it sliced through the air. My phone began to ring in the pocket of my denim jacket. Phone. I had no doubt that it was that unknown number again, or that my only hope was to call emergency services, get out in public, and try to stop my wife's knife with a thick jacket cloth until help could arrive. As it turned out, the nightmare was over as soon as I made it out the door with the phone in my hand. My neighbor Taylor was out for a walk with his Labrador and 2 toddlers. The moment he saw me practically falling off my porch with terror in his eyes, he knew something was wrong, and Christina knew that there would be witnesses. Christina didn't resist when the police came for her. She just stared into space with a vacant expression, a hollow look that explained it all. Helping me to start my career, marrying me, taking out a high-paying life insurance policy that I'd barely looked at before signing. It was all part of her plan to profit from my death. Mandy had been trying to warn me. I didn't hear from Mandy for years after Christina's arrest. There were no more dark figures in the fog or gruesome words scrawled on the walls. In a strange way, I almost missed them. They were a reminder that someone was waiting for me on the other side, that somehow the strongest human emotions carry on, even through the veil of death. A few days ago, I went to my doctor for a routine checkup. As he came through the door with an armload of paperwork, I felt my phone buzz in my pocket. I'd received a text. "We've got the results of your blood work back," my doctor began. There was a helpless look on his withered face that I didn't understand. "To be honest, it doesn't look good. You might want to sit down." My eyes were already drifting to the message from an unknown number that glowed on the screen of my phone. "See you soon."
I don't know how I feel about that story.
That's the one I found.
I mean, like, it's well written. I mean, I don't know how I feel about the ongoing motif of "see you soon," because, like,
I don't know. It reminds me of the stories I listened to, like the horror stories we'd had as kids.
it really does. It's very reminiscent. I don't. I mean, I could tell fucking Christine was up to something for a while, but I was trying to piece together, okay, then why the fuck is Mandy saying that? And it's like, okay, Ghost Wife is trying to be like, haha, if you stay with her, I'll see you soon, ho ho. But, like, you could have been a bit more, like, clear about that.
More scary stories to tell in the dark.
I love that. That book series is the best.
It is a good
It's
book
the
series.
best. 10 out of 10.
Alright, Mr. Handsome. Dost thou have a story for us?
I have quite a few stories saved in my little pocketbook of horror.
Alright, which one do you choose first?
That's a good question. I'll ask chat. Would y'all rather have an SCP story or just a normal spooky scary horror story? Cuz I got a few of both. I'm leaning towards the SCP one, but it's because it's funny and it takes place in IKEA, but it still manages to be scary.
Logan says, depends on the SCP.
It's the IKEA one.
Oh no. Not IKEA!
Oh yeah, a few SCPs are very low tier. You're correct. But it's the IKEA one. I want to read the diary entries from the IKEA SCP. I think it's good, personally.
What do you think, chat?
I'll pull it up.
IKEA SCP?
IKEA SCP.
IKEA SCP!
Don't you want to hear the horror of the infinite IKEA?
I just love Okami. SCP!
SCP. Yeah, you know what? You're getting IKEA SCP, and you're gonna like it.
Oh, no. Alright, I'm ready.
So, when it comes to the IKEA SCP, I'm gonna skip a lot of the SCP technobabble, because it's fun, but that's not really what we're here for. I'm gonna read you the diary entries of a man who unwittingly entered an SCP. Here we go. So, I'm writing this to document what I can only assume is my sudden descent into insanity. I can't possibly be that bad a navigator, and yet, as I write this, I've been trapped in IKEA for 2 days. I haven't seen another person in the entire time I've been here. I thought it was a prank at first, turn the place into a maze, get all the people out, see how long it takes me to get lost, then everyone has a good laugh. Realized that wasn't the case when I tried to backtrack. Everything had changed, so I ended up lost. Instead of the exit, it was just row after row of bookcases. So I'm trapped in IKEA. Sounds like the setup for a bad joke. Um, the lights went out at 10 p.m., nearly gave me a fucking heart attack. That loud electrical thunk sound and then pitch blackness. Place is full of beds, though, and my phone has a torch on it, but no damn signal, so I found a bed and went to sleep. Spent most of the next day trying to find my way out with no luck. Did find a restaurant serving those meatballs, though, so at least I
Mm.
won't starve. That's probably the punchline to that joke. Anyway, they were still warm and fresh, but I haven't seen anyone around who could have cooked them. Made my way back to the beds before the lights cut out again, since it's too dark to search with them off. It's 9:10 a.m. now. The lights came back on a little while ago. I'm sure I've searched the entire area around where I came in now, and the exit obviously isn't there, so I'm going to pick a direction and hope for the best. Day 3 of my magical IKEA mystery adventure. If I wasn't sure that there was something seriously weird about this place before, I am now. Walked for 3 hours in a more or less straight line, insert IKEA joke here, before I came across a ladder next to one of those huge stock shelves they have here. Climbed up to get my bearings, and it looks like this place just stretches on forever. Like that scene from The Lion King, except instead of trees and grass, it was all shelves and tables and crap. I did see a person moving not too far away, though, so I headed over. Thought it was a staff member at first. It was wearing the uniform, and hell, maybe it was? Maybe freakish 7 foot tall monsters with long arms, short legs, and no faces are just the kinds of things they want working at Super IKEA. Damn thing completely ignored me, though, and with no eyes or ears, I can't even be sure it knew I was there. Thought about shoving it or something to get its attention, but its hands were big enough to crush a watermelon, so I decided against it. It just kept moving along, and eventually I lost sight of it, so I decided to carry on the way I was going. Anyway, no comfy bed for me tonight. Looks like I've entered the improbably hard and pointy table section of the store. Guess I'll have to make do with some bunched up tablecloths. Phone battery died during the day, too. Didn't work anyway, but I feel like I've just lost some vital lifeline. And then this is the next diary entry, so page break. You ever see one of those cartoons where they're going through doors in a hallway and they just pop out of another door in the same hallway? That's how I feel right now. I've seen nothing but the same identical bookshelf for 2 days now. Just row after row after row of them. I mean, come on. I love books as much as the next guy, but this is excessive. I'm obviously still moving forwards, though. I can see the signs hanging overhead passing by. Too bad none of them say exit. Not sure who I was addressing that last question to. Let's just say it was practice for the autobiography I'm going to write when I get out of here. I'll call it my perfectly normal trip to a regular old IKEA. And then crossed out is if I ever get out. Finally found some other people. Yeah, turns out I'm not the only poor bastard trapped in here. Lucky for me, I guess. My sixth night here, two of those staff things came at me in the dark. Different from the first one I saw, but still messed up. Heard them coming. They were saying that the store was closed and I had to leave the building, all nice and polite like. I'm not sure which part was of that was weirder, that they didn't have mouths or that they were apparently trying to kill me while they were saying that. It came at me like rabid dogs, so I legged it, sprinting through IKEA in the dark like a fucking madman. I saw it when I cleared another stand of those giant stock shelves all lit up with torches and floodlights. They'd built a whole town in here. got a massive wall built out of shelves and beds and tables and whatever else. I swear to God, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Anyway, I guess they saw me coming, or maybe they heard my manly bellows of fear, because they had a gate open and two people were there waving me in. Heard the staff thing slam into the gate behind me after it closed, still politely informing us all that the store was now closed. They wandered off eventually, though. They call the town Exchange because that's what's on the sign hanging from the ceiling directly above it. Exchange and returns, all lit up against the night using lights they've found and plugged into the power lines. And there are beds and food and people. Over 50 wonderful people with regular sized limbs and a full set of facial features. It's now my 7th night here, and the first one not spent in darkness. A full week living in IKEA. There's probably a TV show about that somewhere. Now that I'm around other people, I'm starting to feel more normal. Maybe normal isn't the word, but after a week with only the sound of my footsteps for company, I was becoming increasingly aware that I'd just gone nuts. That I was tied up in some padded room somewhere, banging my head against the wall, but no, I feel quite sane now, thank you very much. Apparently, there are other towns out there, some with more people, some with less. I found that fairly mind boggling. How can so many people go missing with no one noticing? Surely someone would have noticed if everyone who goes to IKEA seems to fucking vanish. Or maybe it's not everyone. Maybe we're just the lucky ones. The people here just call those staff monster things the staff. Apparently, they're fine during the day, minding their own business, walking the aisles. As soon as those floodlights go out, though, they go fucking bonkers. So during the day, people go out to find food, water, and whatever else they need. Apparently, there are restaurants and shops around that randomly get restocked. No one knows how, maybe the staff do it. Apparently, they aren't very good at their jobs, though, because the restocking sometimes takes a while, which means the food needs to be rationed. Maybe if they weren't so busy chasing people around in the dark, they'd get more done. Anyway, when night comes, the staff goes nuts and everyone holds up inside the walls. Apparently, it's the same everywhere in this place, whatever this place is. The Your IKEA, from whence all other IKEAs sprang. That got me. Or maybe we're all still just in the regular IKEA, and this is all some fever dream brought on by mind numbing boredom. Who knows? Been here for 10 days now. Most of the people I asked said they stopped keeping track a long time ago, and one guy, Chris, said he's been in here for years. Years. Apparently, there are rumors of people who do manage to get out, and of people who see the exit, only to have it vanish before their very eyes. I get the feeling not everyone believes that, but I do. Explains how we got stuck here in the first place, sort of. And I mean, come on, staff monsters, row after endless row of high quality Swedish furniture.
So,
Every once in a while, I'm reminded it's IKEA.
the real IKEA is the friend we made along the way. God, that's such a good one.
Yeah.
God,
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of
Uh,
funny that you're like, oh man, this story's creepy, and then that one brain cell goes, it's IKEA.
I'm reading it seriously and I'm trying to read it well, and then every once in a while I'm like, IKEA. Okay. I don't know why they would find a disappearing door so hard to believe in. I mean, yeah, they're in fucking infinite IKEA. Anyway. I went out scavenging for food at a nearby shop with Sandra and Jerry today. Once you learn the landmarks of the place, it's not so hard to navigate. The overhead signs help a lot, but there are others, not too far in the distance. A huge section of those giant stock shelves had collapsed against each other, and way off in the east, we all assume it's east anyway, apparently IKEA doesn't sell compasses, is some kind of tower that looks like it's made of wood. Reaches all the way up to the ceiling. Maybe they were trying to break out through the roof. Lights up at night, so there must be people there, but it's apparently a few days' walk, which means it must be miles away, so no one here really knows for sure. Apparently, I got incredibly lucky sleeping out in the open for a week without getting ripped to bits by the staff. That's me. Lucky, lucky, lucky. We found some food in the shop. Guess the staff restocked it during the night, which was nice of them. There was a telephone on the wall, so I figured I'd try it out. There was a voice on the other end, but they were just talking nonsense. Random words strung together with no real meaning. You ever see a video of someone with aphasia? Kinda sounded like that. Didn't answer me when I spoke to them anyway. Sandra says all the phones in here are the same. Oops, asking the journal questions again. I was thinking last night. The ceiling on this place is pretty high, and as far as anyone can tell, it goes on forever. Shouldn't be there, like, some kind of weather in here? I'm sure I read about some NASA building that was so big it had its own weather patterns, with clouds and stuff. This place is definitely bigger than that, but now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure I've never felt so much as a temperature change in here. I'll add it to the grand list of weird bullshit. The staff attacked the exchange last night. Must have been 20 or 30 of them all just asking us to leave the store or calm as you like, while trying to smash the walls down with their bare hands. Apparently this happens pretty regularly, so everyone's prepared for it. Knives from the restaurants, lawnmower blades made into hatchets, a fire axe. One guy, Wasim, even made a functional crossbow. Anyway, the walls have holes in them, which I hadn't noticed before, specifically so we can stab out at the staff when they attack. Took a couple of them down myself. They don't seem to bleed, which is weird, but they go down as easy as a regular person once you start sticking holes in them. We had to haul the bodies away in the morning. Apparently the dead ones will attract more during the night, so we had to get them away from exchange. We have a couple of those trolley things they use to move big boxes around, so we loaded them up and took them over to pickup. Apparently people just name everything here after whatever sign is hanging overhead. Pickup was grisly. There were hundreds, maybe thousands of dead staff all piled up. There was no smell, which was a blessing. Apparently, in addition to not bleeding, these things don't rot either. My curiosity got the better of me while we were unloading them, so I took a look at one of the more cut up ones. They're just skin, or something that looks like skin, all the way through. No muscle, no bone, no organs. Are they even really alive in the first place? They certainly seem like they have bones when they're moving around, pounding on the walls, and I'm sure I felt more resistance than just skin when the knife went in during the night. Maybe something happens to them when they die. Just one more thing on the ever-increasing list of weird shit that goes on in here, I guess. Something occurred to me after the staff attacked the... Yes, were you about to?
I just saw IKEA Minecraft survival mode plus backrooms mod. Yes. Yes, I
Yeah!
need it now. I need it now.
Yeah!
IKEA Minecraft mod when? I want my infinite IKEA in Minecraft.
Oh my god. Okay.
Okay, continue.
Some, Something occurred to me after the staff attack the other night. Every time you see a situation like this on TV or in a film, like it's the end of the world or everyone's trapped on an island or whatever, once groups like ours start to form, people always seem to turn on each other, fighting for food or dominance or whatever else. That hasn't happened here. Apparently, people from other towns come by from time to time just to check in or occasionally to trade if they're short on something, but everything's always cordial, friendly even. Maybe it's the threat of the staff, or perhaps the constant restocking of supplies in the shops means there's nothing much to fight over. Maybe people are just better than they're generally given credit for. That's a nice thought. I think I'll go with that one. A dozen people showed up at the gates this afternoon from a town called Trolleys. Every time he mentions the names, I'm just like, right,
IKEA.
yeah. Apparently, the staff broke through the walls and tore the town apart during the night. These 12 are the only survivors out of over 100. We let them in, obviously, one more point in the human decency column. Later, I asked if anyone knew how many of these towns there were out there. Between us and the new folks, we managed to come up with over 20 names. 20 towns filled with people, and who knows how many beyond that. The motto for this place should be, how is that even possible? Surely someone, somewhere, must be looking for the thousands of people that must be in here. I've been here for a little over 2 months now. Can you imagine 2 months in an IKEA?
Yeah, I don't want to be 2 months at IKEA eating nothing but Swedish meatballs to survive.
Swedish meatballs.
Because I don't know what, like, it's been so long since I've actually been in an IKEA that I don't know if they sell anything, like, for food-wise other than that, like, little booth of Swedish meatballs.
I don't know either, so I'm just imagining that they're subsisting purely on Swedish meatballs.
I'm gonna say, hold on, wait, I'm gonna look it up.
That doesn't sound
Cause
good.
I
That
don't know
doesn't
what IKEA.
sound palatable.
Cause IKEA is like primarily a home goods and furnishing store, so like, like they sell like kitchen
Yeah.
appliances, but like if you have
And
nothing to cook,
if
what
you
are
have
you
nothing to
eating?
cook with except Swedish meatballs, you could just make different variants on Swedish meatballs.
Okay, no, they do have They apparently IKEA does have actual restaurants.
Okay,
They
so
have
they
like a
could be
little
eating
bistro, I
everything.
guess.
Well, that's nice. Just
Yeah, so you can get like snacks. You can get like all the things you would need: bread and dairy, fish, meat,
yeah, we're
cheese.
yeah, we're getting close to the end here.
And
So,
also, hello, shamanic. We're just
hello.
Dara's reading us the harrowing tales of infinite IKEA for scary story
I'm
time.
reading Infinite IKEA. All right. Not that much changes, as it turns out. A couple of new people showed up, same story as the rest of us. Nice little trip to IKEA, and suddenly they're trapped in Billy Bookcase's house of faceless weirdos.
I love that description.
The staff
Have
attack
fun.
the exchange once or twice a week. We kill them and haul their bodies off. Sometimes they hurt some of us first. They killed a guy called Jared a couple of weeks back. It was awful, frankly. Turns out regular humans still bleed in here, even if the staff don't. We tried our best, but none of us are doctors. Jared was a good guy. He deserved better. We all do. It occurred to me a couple of days after that, none of us were really looking for a way out of here. I don't even know where we'd start. One of those quadcopter things with a camera attached buzzed past exchange today. I thought it meant that someone was finally looking for us, that help was on the way. Apparently, it's not the first time this has happened, though. Same thing happened a few months ago, and everyone's still here. No idea if it saw us. It didn't stop if it did. Just kept flying until we could no longer see it. And this is a note from the SCP Foundation. Note: based on recovery time of the journal, this entry appears to line up approximately with our first successful test highlighting a drone inside SCP 3008 1. Analysis of footage shows a walled settlement under a sign labeled Exchange and Returns. Attempts to relocate the settlement failed. Origin of previously sighted drone is unknown. Fun thoughts. Back to the journal.
Okay,
I
okay.
started talking to people about the stuff they missed from home during dinner today. Probably not the best idea I've ever had. Everyone seems pretty down after. A bunch of people here have families, husbands, wives, kids, dogs. Franklin apparently has a pet llama, though I'm not sure I buy that. But apparently some of the people here have some seriously odd gaps in their knowledge. 3 of them had never heard of the International Space Station. 2 of them seemed to think Redacted was the Prime Minister. SCP Classic. And one
Mm-hmm.
of them had apparently never heard of the Statue of Liberty. I believe them too. They seemed just as confused as the rest of us. The more I thought about it, though, the more it started to explain a few things. What if the reason no one is looking for all us missing people is because we haven't all come from the same place? This is gonna sound weird. Maybe that should be the motto for this place, but what if all the people here have come from different dimensions, realities, whatever you call it? I've seen enough TV shows to know the drill. Sarah comes from a place where there's no Statue of Liberty. They didn't launch a space station where Wasim is from. If everyone here came from different places, even from ones that seem identical, there'd be no huge missing persons panic, no mass search. We'd just be a blip, a single missing person in a world of non-stop news. Well, that was a fun train of thought. Just realized that yesterday was the six-month anniversary of my arrival here.
Woo! Also, who the fuck brought
I,
their
wa-
dog to IKEA?
I Oh my god. I wonder if IKEA sells party hats. The routine around here has remained more or less the same. More new folks show up, once every couple of weeks or so. Food supplies go up and down, but we've never actually had a major shortage. Occasionally we get a visitor from one of the nearby towns, usually checkouts or aisle 630. We check in
Aisle
with each other
6.
from time to time, occasionally trade supplies if someone gets particularly low on something. It's comforting in a way, a reminder that we aren't alone in here. Some small glimmer of civilization. Sometimes they bring medical supplies. Apparently there's a pharmacy a few towns down from checkout that gets restocked every now and then, so they share out what they can. I've never heard of an IKEA with a pharmacy before, but at this point I wouldn't be surprised if someone stumbled on an IKEA organ harvesting lab. Would certainly explain the staff. Speaking of our faceless jailers, their attacks have been getting worse lately. 3 or 4 times a week now, with twice as many staff as there used to be. No idea where they all come from or why the attacks have increased. We tried following one of them during the day a few weeks ago, me and Sarah. Wanted to see if they led back to a staff room or something. Didn't seem to go anywhere though, just randomly walked through the aisles. We had to turn back before we found anything. We've been reinforcing the walls, trying to arm ourselves better. Certainly no lack of materials to use. Wasim has been making more crossbows, but it's pretty slow going. Too bad IKEA doesn't sell guns.
Damn.
The attacks are getting bad now, almost every night. With so many staff that the bodies almost pile high enough for others to climb the walls, I think we're in real trouble here. Exchange is... I think exchange is done. We got hit pretty bad last night. Not many casualties, but the wall is wrecked. We finally figured out why the attacks have been escalating too. A box of supplies had a chunk of one of the staff in there. No idea how it happened, but apparently a piece of one will draw them as well as a full body. Too late now in any case. There's too many bodies for us to haul away, and still time to fix the wall before night. Candace has called a meeting. I suspect there will be talk of abandoning exchange. Maybe try and get shelter at checkouts or something. It's already getting late though. I don't think we'll have time to make it. Maybe some of us will. I was fine for the first week out in the dark after all, but then how often can I keep getting lucky? I'm only writing this for a sense of closure, I guess. For me, for anyone who finds this. If this is the final entry here, I hope whoever is reading this is doing so from outside of this place. My biggest fear, if I do die tonight, I'll just wake up here again in the morning. Note: this is the last entry. It is assumed that while attempting to reach the checkouts settlement, he was separated from the rest of his group by a pursuing SCP-3008-2 instance and happened upon the exit.
Damn. That'd be cool if he made it out.
Yeah, so it seems the SCP Foundation... Wait, how did they say they found this diary? Did they find it because he escaped? Let me check. Yes, they did. A man managed to escape the IKEA, and he was carrying this journal. And they
Holy crap.
noted it down. So yes, this man's escaped IKEA.
Woo!
Whoa! And
He
that
did
is
it,
the tale
guys.
of the infinite IKEA. Thank you for coming on this journey with me.
So, note to self, never walk into an IKEA.
Don't go to IKEA. You might get stuck for like 6 months, maybe years.
Oh my god, I found a diary in IKEA with a heartbreaking story. Must listen.
Must.
You know, this actually reminds me, like, some of the kids I was babysitting, like, they like to play, like, Roblox and shit on their iPad, and I think or they'll watch, like, Roblox YouTube videos, and there was one of the Infinite IKEA as a game.
Infinite IKEA.
I got another story. I went to IKEA the other day, and everything was normal until I realized that they didn't have meatballs in the store. I thought it was weird until I discovered the meatballs, that I had to build the meatballs from scratch.
So for Jag, he did escape IKEA because SCP is like the people who contain these weird anomalies, and they found him exiting the IKEA when they isolated it. So this guy escaped. He made it out of IKEA.
He survived.
So that was a scary story, an SCP with a good ending, which is actually extremely rare.
Yeah, he escaped Infinite IKEA.
Yeah, he escaped Infinite IKEA, dude. He's free. He's alive. I think, or did they say they were, like, searching a body? I think he made it. No, wait. I think he did die. Hold on.
Oh, did he die? Fuck!
Let me recheck. Okay,
I need to know what happened to IKEA, man.
Okay, hold on. A human male exited SCP-3008, which is the IKEA, followed 10 seconds later by an instance of SCP-3008-2. That's the staff.
Right.
Yes, SCP-3008-2 caught and killed the man before itself being terminated by armed response personnel. The incident represents the only time an instance of SCP-3008-2 has been seen exiting. A full autopsy on the corpse was performed. He was found carrying a journal. So this guy made it out of IKEA and then immediately got killed.
So he literally walked out, and the staff guy came out. He's like,
Literally, the guy got chased by the staff out of the IKEA and immediately got killed as soon as he got out of the IKEA, and then the SCP Foundation put down the staff. So that sucks.
He got hit by the Swedes.
He did. The Swedes got him, dude.
The Swedes
They
got him. Rest in peace, IKEA man.
But yeah, so that is but God said kill survivor.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's Infinite IKEA, and our poor protagonist has actually died. It's not a happy ending. But yeah.
Alright. Alright, thank you for
All right,
Infinite IKEA,
cool.
RodKeel. Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Alright, next up.
Bless us with your next story.
I have mine ready.
Hmm.
Alright. This one is another Reddit story. And this one is called, "On a hunting trip with my granddad deep in the forest, we made a haunting discovery." Drizzle taps lightly on the leaves all around us, and the smell of pine is rich in the air as we creep through the undergrowth, my granddad and I. I run my tongue along my teeth, focusing. I raise the rifle a little higher. A nozzler. A way higher quality weapon than I should be using. The thing's wasted on me. I'm an appalling hunter. I'm not even sure if I agree with it, to be honest. Hunting, I mean, ethically speaking. I mean, my granddad and I, basically everything we kill, and to be honest, I don't kill a whole lot. I send many of my shots deliberately wide. I just do this to hang out with him, really. He's a fascinating man, and the guy likes taking me out into the woods, so I just go along with it. It's good quality time that I'm lucky to have. That sounded like clickbait. But we're stalking a pair of deer right now. Big things as well. I'm pretty sure the creatures know we're here, but you can get surprisingly close provided you don't actually give off any sign you're trying to shoot them. "Stay low, Robbie," he murmurs through the side of his mouth. "Move to your right past the bush, then it's a clean shot. Take it when ready." I like my name. Named after the man beside me, as it happens, Robert. He being Robert, I, of course, being Robert II. I nod and creep into position, taking careful aim as instructed. I see a thumbs up in the corner of my eye, and I shoot. I miss. The sound ricochets around the forest, and the birds burst from a nearby tree, shooting up towards the sky. The deer wheel around in panic, and I make to leave. "God damn it," my granddad mutters and raises up from behind the bush, bringing his rifle with him and firing off a quick shot. My ego is somewhat relieved by the fact that he misses too, and we both watch as the deer disappear into the undergrowth and shadow of the forest. The man lowers his weapon and looks at me. I do the same and give him a shrug. We hold eye contact for a second, and then he breaks it with a chuckle, shaking his head. "Damn it, Robbie, every time I think I've taught you something, you manage to pull off some magnificent blunder like that."
I
Hey.
love the grandpa voice. I love the damn it, Robin.
Damn
It's
it,
like,
Robbie!
"Damn it, Bob."
God damn it, Bobby.
Something
Hey.
ain't right with that boy. Anyway.
Hey, well, you know what they say. You shouldn't judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree. I ain't judging you on your tree climbing ability. You're my grandson. I'm judging you on your ability to swim, fishy. I point to the shattered branch my granddad caused when he fired a shot. I truly am learning from the best. Bastard, he snorts with a laugh, thumping me on the chest. "Come on, let's track him. Plenty of daylight left." We push around the bush and I head through the little clearing, stepping over a falling log and making to follow the route the deer both took. But my granddad suddenly stops and holds up his hand with his head cocked to the side. I pause likewise, waiting, holding my breath and listening intently. My ears hone in on the sound of rustling foliage and snapping twigs. It grows louder, heading towards us, in the exact direction the deer were running from. "Jesus," my granddad grunts. "They're coming back this way. They'll have seen it," but he's cut off by the sudden emergence of the deer through the bushes ahead, running right at us from the green, gloomy shade. "Shit!" I shout out loud in a panic. The deer makes no attempt to run around us in the slightest and runs instead directly towards our position. I raise the rifle and take a rapid, shaky aim. "Damn it, Steve, down!" So wait, Steve. Oh yeah, "Damn it, Steve, down!" Granddad shouts, grabbing me by the sleeve and hauling me to the forest floor, back behind the log. "Steve?" The air escapes me as I crash with my granddad down to the ground, and the deer jumps right over us. My granddad instantly takes position, cocking and aiming his own rifle over the top of the log, deathly focused. Some will have made him run like that. They've seen a wolf or a bear. A wolf? A bear? Ow, ow, thank you for the eats. I'd be surprised to see either at this time of day, but as I said, something made him run. My granddad remains cool and composed, the barrel of the rifle fixed on the damaged woodland ahead and along the deer's path. I stick close, watching out in all directions in case we're approached from the side, gun cocked and heart pounding. But nothing comes. We wait for a tension-laden moment, then another, muscles aching with the stress of simply holding ourselves in preemptive positions. But, as I said, nothing else comes towards us. My granddad cautiously gets to his feet. Weird, he mutters. We'd better move on out of here. Come on, stay alert. Let's go. I nod in reply, and together we make a swift but careful exit from the little grove, heading back through the woods and retracing our steps. After what I hope is something of a safe distance, I ask my granddad a question. Why'd you call me Steve back then? When the deer were coming at me, you called me Steve. You said, Steve, get down! Is that so? My granddad asked, scratching his chin. I don't know. You know Steve, though, right? Old friend of mine. I swear I've mentioned him before. I consider, yeah, maybe. Once or twice. Granddad shakes his head. Definitely talked about him more than that. You probably weren't listening, he sighs. It was just the moment, I suppose. Way you were standing, deer coming right at you, raising your gun. What would have happened if you'd shot one, huh? It would have gone right down and knocked you out with it. I don't know, it wasn't all that big. It was bigger than you're giving it credit for. And at that speed, would have flattened you. It's what I told Steve all those years ago. He did the exact same thing, the idiot. What's he up to nowadays? Granddad doesn't reply. He only looks out into the depths of the forest. We're atop a hill, and the trees give way to a view across a deep green valley. The sky is gray overhead. The man tuts and shakes his head. Steve isn't around much anymore.
I knew it.
Oh, sorry. He's not dead, is he? My granddad grimaces. I don't know exactly. You don't know? Look, just drop it, kid. A story for another day. Let's get back to the campsite. Cook that rabbit we caught earlier. He pauses, putting out a hand, and I stop at once, following his line of sight. I hadn't even spotted it, but it chills my blood to see it now. It gives me the shivers even remembering. We stand only a few feet away from a deer. It's one of the same deer as before, I'm sure of it. Neither of us had spotted it because the thing is standing entirely still, like a statue. A taxidermy, almost. The hell? Granddad whispers, staring at the creature in surprise. He squints and then leans over to me. It's breathing, though only barely. Look down there at its chest. I do so, taking the spectacle in. The deer had one hooved foot placed against the trunk of a tree, which in itself is quite curious already. But the animal doesn't move, not even slightly. It doesn't even blink. Hey! My granddad barks louder. Hey! He claps his hands, but the deer doesn't react. Then, in time with a sudden flurry of water from the rain-soaked leaves above us, the deer slowly turns its head, all the way around, until it's staring at my granddad and myself, one eye on each. My stomach drops, though I'm unsure as to why. The deer is... I don't know. Something's wrong. Thing must be sick, my granddad murders. We'll take a different route back. Go wide of this creature. We're too close already as it is. Yeah, I mumble, and the two of us edge away and through the undergrowth, taking a new direction as the deer watches us go, deathly silent. I shiver as it last passes out of sight, lost behind us to the watery green shadows of the forest. I don't know what a Jinmin story is, but I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm gonna take it as a compliment. Later that night, after returning to camp and preparing to eat our catch, I bid my granddad goodnight and call into the tent, zipping the flaps up after me. Oh, it's a manga.
I was gonna say, yeah, it seems to be like horror manga.
Ooh. I fumble around in the near darkness for a while, my lamp casting intense black shadows out in all directions as I shifted from place to place, trying to work my way into my sleeping bag. It doesn't feel particularly cold at the moment, but the temperature has the potential to suddenly drop at any given moment, and I don't want to wake up frozen solid at 3 a.m. And as it happens, I don't. I awaken at 3:15, not frozen, but slick with sweat. Roused from a dreamless slumber, my ears prick up at the sound of rustling and snuffling outside, right by my tent. I hold my breath and grit my teeth. It's this fear of the unknown that gets me. It's probably just a rabbit or a hare, but the possibility that it could be something larger, something more dangerous, is impossible to ignore. For some reason, my mind does not go to the image of a bear or a mountain lion or anything like that. It goes to the deer, frozen in place, eyes unblinking, head turning as it watches my granddad and I pass by it. Something presses up against my tent right by my head. I wince and stare at the bulging material through the darkness. I try not to think about the fact that I'm separated by the beasts of the forest by a pair of what are effectively flimsy sheets of fabric. Just ignore it, I tell myself. Ignore it and it'll go away. I quietly roll over and scrunch my eyes up, determined to be a man and not get frightened by the presence of some raccoon or squirrel. The creature sniffles some more, rustling about in the grass in the dark. My heart rate increases as I hear the thing pawing against the tent's outer lining. And then, for a second, it stops entirely, and to my horror, I hear my granddad's voice. It's breathing, though only barely. The sentence comes crisp and sharp through the general murmur and backing breeze of the forest. The sentence is entirely devoid of cadence, as if read from a book by someone who's never known English. Look down there at its chest, it says. Fuck! Panicking now, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. It's my granddad outside, playing a prank on me. It has to be, it must be, because there's literally no other explanation that makes sense. Regardless of the fact that this is entirely out of character, regardless of the fact that I've never heard the man speak in such a way, even in humor in his entire life, he must be sleepwalking. That's it. My explosive heart rate cools just a little. Yeah, that's it. It's the only possible explanation that makes sense. And if that's the case, then I can't just leave him to wander around outside. Despite my fear, I gently ease my way out of my sleeping bag. You might think me an idiot, but if my granddad is wandering around in the woods in a daze, he could get lost or seriously hurt. So I push aside my irrational terror, and with a shaking hand, I reach for the zip, pulling it open with a noise that is far too loud for comfort. Fuck it. In for a penny, in for a pound. I yank the zip open, and then the next, I push my head out into the night, the cool air washing across my face as I raise the lantern to cast away the darkness. What I see is nothing. I jump outside the tent, staring, lifting the lantern as the light falls across the long grasses and the nearby trees. We're still on the ridge of the valley, but the valley itself is shrouded in darkness. A small section of visible moon illuminates the very tips of the trees in silver, but I'm too preoccupied to properly appreciate the natural beauty for now. I pace around the tent in a circle and see no evidence of my grandfather. Granddad? I hiss out into the night, turning and raising the lantern up high. Still, nothing. Something chirps softly from between the branches of the deep woods. I turn to face it with throat dry, but the trees give away no secrets. I cross the grass and crouch down by my granddad's tent. The zip remains closed. Granddad? I whisper. To no response. I try again, a little louder. Granddad? I hear a groan and a grumble from inside. I hear him mutter. The hell? Granddad, are you good? Of course I'm good. What's the matter with you? All right. Nothing. See you tomorrow. He murmurs something under his breath, and I hear the rustle of his sleeping bag as he rolls over. I stand up straight and stare out into the night. For a second time, that chirping sound rings out from the branches, and I make a hasty return to my tent, zipping the thing up tight and secure, shivering as I try to force myself back to sleep. It takes a long time, and I don't recall drifting off. My dreams are disturbing and are largely comprised of the discovery that something crept into my tent. Dream distorted and warped in an impossible size. My dream self scrambles around from place to place as a nightmare slithers and swims through the shadows like water. It's a welcome relief when I wake safe and sound, to the faded glare of tent-filtered morning sunlight shined into my face. Ugh, I mutter, sitting up straight and groggily rubbing my eyes. Oh no, not the ads! Fuck the ads, I hate them. For a second or two, the reality of last night blurs into the dreams, but as I remember the truth, that bitterly familiar anxiety settles back in. I clamber out of the tent into the warming morning air to find my granddad washing his face in a pot of water. Morning, he grunts. How you feel this morning? Not great, to be honest, I reply. You were sleepwalking last night. Eh? Granddad glances up at me but continues with his routine. No, I don't sleepwalk. You were mumbling nonsense and bashing into my tent at like 3 a.m., I tell him. I came to check on you, but you must have gone back to bed. My granddad pauses and looks right at me. So that did happen then. You're disturbing me. Thought I might have dreamt it. He stands up and scratches his jaw. Tell me exactly what happened. I relay the story and my granddad remains silent until its end. Slightly paled, he looks around at our surroundings and then down into the valley. I fucking knew it, he mutters almost imperceptibly. It's the same place. The exact same place. What? I ask him. What do you mean? I came here with Steve. Once. I knew I'd been here before. I thought I'd picked the location pretty randomly, but I guess my subconscious had other ideas. Granddad, I don't know what you're talking about. He stares over the valley and I follow his gaze and watches a small flock of dark birds flutters around in a circle above the trees. Again and again and again. Round and round they go. He turns to look straight at me, his expression grim. Perhaps even afraid a little. And this unsettles me deeply. Nothing is supposed to scare that man. Pack up, Robbie. Make it good and be quick. We're out of here. In another atmosphere, I might have questioned him, but the vibe is clear. I do as he says at once, and in silence, we quickly pack away our gear, loading up our backpacks with constant furtive glances to the trees. The forest has dried somewhat since yesterday's rain, but the sky overhead is still a weird swirl of gray. We set out beneath its gloom, all trace of our modest campsite thoroughly erased. My granddad's pace is a little faster than normal. Bracken and pine needles are crunched underfoot as he strides through the woodlands. He clenches his rifle a little tighter, too. I break the tension. Granddad, what the hell is going on? Why aren't you telling me? I was an idiot once before, Granddad replies, as a breeze whistles its way through the boughs of the trees, and I lost a good friend. I won't let the same thing happen to you. We push through the bushes and pass by a large pond surrounded by thick, tangled weeds. I glance over the water. The water is a grim gray-green and covered in a curious floating moss. The surface is broken by the heads of 3 deer, standing perfectly still. The entirety of their bodies below their necks are submerged, and they stare at us as we pass by them. Oh, see you later, little. Have a good time at work. On another day, I might have found the sight quite comical, but right now I feel nothing but cold, biting fear. One of the deer rises up from the water, rippling it quietly, rearing up onto its hind legs, and my granddad grabs my sleeves and hauls me along. Don't stop moving. We're getting out of here. Just keep going, Robbie. Our steps become faster, our breathing a little more labored. The trees rush by, branches scratch at my arms and face. We push out into a clearing, and my granddad skids to an immediate halt. What is it? I ask, panting. Something moves in the shadows of the trees, shifting between the branches at the clearing's opposite side. The hair at the back of my neck bristles, and I instinctively raise the rifle. The sounds of the birds and the breeze fade away, and the air itself seems to darken as the shifting shadow ahead draws closer. It's difficult, near impossible to make out its exact shape through the layers of branch and foliage, but I swear I can see a rough, vaguely humanoid silhouette amongst the shadows in the dark green-brown blur. Did you come back for me, Robert? Whispers a voice. My muscles tense up in reaction to my name. Is it my name it speaks, or my granddad's? My granddad sucks some air through his teeth. He begins to carefully sidestep his way around the clearing, and I copy his movements. You wouldn't leave me behind again, would you? The voice is not dissimilar to the one I heard last night. It is different, sure, but the cadence or lack thereof is much the same. My granddad raises the rifle, cocks it, but he doesn't fire. Keep going around, kid, he says to me. To the left, pass through that part of the clearing. I'll be right behind you. I start to edge my way around the clearing, never taking my eyes off the shadow in the trees just ahead. I'm trying so hard to focus on it, to understand what it is that I'm seeing, but I can't. The very branches themselves seem to be moving, cracking and rippling in the shade. The figure takes a sudden step forward. Run! My granddad shouts, raising the rifle and firing a loud shot up into the air. Unprepared for such a sudden noise, my ears ring as I scramble and stumble through the forest, along a natural path of sorts between the trees, though I stumble to a halt when I realize my granddad's not behind me. He told me to run, but do I go back for him? I have to, it's a no-brainer. So I swivel around and prepare to charge back to the clearing when the man himself staggers out through the bushes towards me, face white as a sheet. Get that damn thing out my face, you idiot! He grunts as he shoves away the barrel of my rifle, and together we race through the forest. My granddad dumps his backpack and I do likewise, leaving the equipment behind as we tear through the undergrowth, way back to where we parked the truck the other day. When at last we see it, waiting for us on the edge of a dirt track road, we throw ourselves inside and my granddad stuffs in the keys and turns it with a clank, the engine revving to life. The wheels spin and away we go, back through the wilds down the long back roads of the woodlands. I summon the courage after a while, and once the air is cooled, I ask my granddad what he saw. What happened after he fired the rifle? Thing tried to speak to me again. The deep woods, Robbie. I'm sorry for taking you there. They can screw with a man's mind, these places. Real bad. There was something there, though, wasn't there? Something real. Yes, I think so. Was it... I falter. Who was it, Granddad? Nightmare. That's all. Some that shouldn't exist by the laws of nature. Its voice... Did you recognize it? You said you heard something outside your tent last night, right? I nod. It sounded like me. Yeah, I replied. But it wasn't me, was it? No, I reply again. No, it wasn't. Sometimes we hear voices. Don't mean they belong to anyone. So why didn't you shoot it? What? His hands flex and clench around the wheel. You fired the rifle, but you aimed up into the air, not at the shadow. Why did you do that? To this day, my granddad has my granddad has no answer. He only reaches briefly across to pat my shoulder, and as the clouds swirl overhead, we spend the rest of the long drive home in contemplative silence. Silence with the occasional glance to the thickets of trees that pass us by. The end.
I I love how the grandson is like, "Hey, Grandpa, that was kind of fucked up, wasn't it?" And Grandpa's first response is, "It's the woods, son. Sometimes it just fucks with you." And
It's
it's
the
like that really
woods.
does not explain what happened. That is not a sufficient explanation, Grandfather. That was a
It was
good that was
Iowa.
a good story.
It was a pretty
I
good
liked
story.
it. It was well written. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was a good one. Good choice. Good choice.
Thank you, I try. Alright.
It gave me big like Wendigo vibes, but I don't think it was specifically a Wendigo, but it gave me those vibes.
You like my narration? Yay! I'm glad. I used to do a lot of reading for kids and stuff, so I have a lot of experience reading stories. That, and I was also a theater kid, so, you know, you gotta be expressive on stage.
I was also a theater kid, and I'm also an English teacher, so I also try to read well. I also try to do the good narration.
Yeah, I too thought it was gonna be like the deer or something, like, you know, doing the haunting.
The deer was clearly, like, clearly it's shown that this thing can sound like different things, so maybe the deer was like it, but what I that story was very interesting. I like it though. I like
Yeah. Alright.
Shall we do another story?
RodKeel, what is your choice? Now look, he like backup, kid me or decking on the table. Oh shit!
Back up.
I'm glad my narration was good.
Alright.
Thank you.
So, as I said, I'm an English teacher, so I actually picked a horror story where the protagonist is an English teacher.
Oh my god.
So this story is from Reddit, and this story is called 10 Years Ago, I Taught Sophomore Creative Writing. Two student stories still haunt me to this day.
Ooh.
Here we go. Fresh out of college, I took a teaching job in a small town in central Wisconsin. In my sophomore creative writing class, I assigned a flash fiction exercise around Halloween. We'd studied urban legends and folklore, and it was the students' turn to construct stories of their own. Assignment length 100 to 1,000 words. Directions scare me. The submission quality was as expected, these were sophomores after all, but one story stood out halfway through my stack of papers. A piece by a quiet student named Jake. His first person flash fiction story seemed so real, like it was dipped in reality, a little too closely, almost like he wasn't making it up, but had been retelling something that happened to him. I put it aside, impressed. Kate's submission was the last paper in the stack. I remember the reading experience vividly, the beads of sweat accumulating around my temples, the clickety click of the red pen in my hand, and a weird feeling of dread in the pit of my stomach. I placed it on top of Jake's story, and I thought, what the hell am I going to do? I still have photocopies of the original stories, and I often wonder, why do I still have these? But there is something about them. They're so interconnected, and there's something so raw and beautiful about them. I have a strong affinity for interesting student writing, and it would be a shame to let the flames of these stories be extinguished. I'll share the student pieces and the subsequent events that transpired right here. I do enjoy a good story. Jake's flash fiction. My parents put Grandma Rosie in a home when she started to lose her grasp on reality, they said. I still found it cruel, but she seemed content. Content enough, I guess. I remember visiting her. She had an old wooden rocking chair that faced the window. Outside was nothing but flat fields of green. The green would eventually fade, and when it snowed, it was carpets of white for miles and miles. I'm not sure which season Grandma Rosie liked the most, as she didn't do a lot of talking. She mainly listened to her radio, and always one station, 89.1. But 89.1 never had a signal. It was always static. Grandma Rosie listened to this static all day, seemingly waiting out her life. No one could reach her. I visited one day to drop off a box of chocolates. Grandma Rosie slowly rocked in her chair with large headphones over her ears, staring out the window, watching the snowfall. I couldn't tell if she knew I was there. I walked over and placed the chocolates on a small table, and her hand suddenly reached across and snatched my wrist. Shh, she whispered. Listen. Grandma Rosie leaned in close, and I put my ear to hers. I lifted up the cup of her headphone and listened. There was only static. I was about to speak, but she covered my mouth with her hand. Listen closer, she said. I did, but all I heard was more static. Soon, they will come, she said. They will come to take me away. This freaked me out a little, and I went home. I told my mom and dad about what happened, but they didn't think it was that weird. I kept thinking about it. One night I couldn't sleep, so I buzzed my friend Abby on our walkie-talkies. She lived across the street, and she somehow knew all about 89.1. She told me it was an old legend in our town, and you needed two things to explore the legend further: a radio and a closet with the door slightly open. Face away from the closet, tune in to 89.1, and listen very closely. At some point through the static, you'll hear the faint sounds of an organ, distant screams, and the dragging of metal chains along a gravelly surface. The open doorway is an invitation. Keep your eyes closed, and only if you keep your eyes closed. A figure will appear and drag you into the closet. From there, your fate is unknown. How do you know this? I asked. I've heard about it, she said. Don't tell anyone. The less people that know, the better. I looked out my window and saw Abby in her bedroom. She put her finger up to her lips. "This is our secret," the walkie-talkie buzzed. For the next few days, I kept thinking about the ritual and Grandma Rosie. Why would she be playing this game? Why did she want to be dragged into an unknown fate? I again told my parents that I was worried about Grandma Rosie. They were very dismissive. "Ever since Grandpa died, I think she wants to just let go," my mom said. "She wants to be with him." I wanted to know more, so I decided to try the game myself. It was late at night, and I opened my closet door just a crack. I sat on my bed with my back to the closet and tuned my radio to 89.1 and put on my headphones. I heard the static, and I closed my eyes. I sat there for a long time, focusing very hard on the static. The longer I sat there, the more it felt like my room was shrinking, kind of like the space was filling up with something else, like I wasn't alone. In my headphones, I heard the distant organ, and I heard the screams that seemed far away, but sounded like they were getting closer. The screeching of the metal began, and then I heard a voice. "Open your eyes!" I jumped from my bed, very startled. Abby was laughing hysterically through the walkie-talkie. I looked around my bedroom. I was alone. I looked out the window and saw Abby, smiling and giggling. She brought the walkie-talkie up to her mouth. "I totally scared you," she said. "There was no one there. You're such a wuss." I noticed the closet door. It was wide open. The static of 89.1 hissed from my headphones. "I was only joking," the walkie-talkie chirped, but I wasn't so sure it was a joke. Grandma Rosie died 2 weeks later in her sleep. Her time had come, and I was done fooling around with legends and superstition. Jake's story was the most interesting of the bunch. His writing needed some tightening, sure, but the ideas were there: a mysterious legend, sentimental characterizations, and an ambiguous ending. I truly thought he had invented the whole thing until I read Kate's submission. Kate's flash fiction. Panic. Fear. No one would believe me, not ever. I told him I was joking about everything. It helps me sleep at night. But I know what I saw: a young boy, a ritual, and death. Death itself. A black death with a clutching grip, an entity that surrounds its victim, dragging a companion to its secret and eternal lair. But I was joking all along, which made it okay. I had to know more. I went to her room. It felt recently vacated, like the plug had just been pulled from a sink. Headphones on the floor, static, nothing but static. Noises from the cupboard, labored breathing, fingernails squeaking on the door from the inside. I clutched the handle. Something else, something dark. Can't open it, won't open it. Refuse to let it out. I slowly back away, a tiny voice squeaking. "Help me." Static echoing in the small room, nothing but static. I close the door on my way out, won't let it out. Won't tell, will never tell. My story doesn't exist, it's simply not there. It's nothing but static. Here I had two seemingly intertwined stories: Jake's more traditional folklore story, and Kate's personalized flash fiction, focusing on emotion, regrets, and secrets. Perhaps I'd been swimming in urban legends too long, or maybe I'd been the victim of too many horrendous student essays and stories to count, but I couldn't shake the notion: this seems real. A few days after Halloween, I kept Kate after school. I wanted to know more. Specifically, was she the Abby character in Jake's story, and was she confessing to visiting the grandmother in her own piece? I pulled out Kate's flash fiction, and I asked about how she wrote it. What was her inspiration? She shrugged. "I guess it's just avant-garde. I was just experimenting with ideas. Did you like it?" I nodded. It was an interesting piece, I told her. "Have you ever heard of 89.1? Kate asked me. I started to speak, but couldn't. A few words sputtered out, but were interrupted by Kate's laughing. "Oh my gosh, Mr. Patrick, the whole thing was just a joke." Kate explained how she and Jake conspired to write multiple viewpoints of the same story. partially as a creative writing exercise, but mainly just to screw with me. The whole thing was made up. It was a Halloween prank. We so got you, Mr. Patrick, Kate laughed. I smiled uncomfortably. It was a good one, and yes, they got me. I told her that I enjoyed her piece. Let's continue developing your avant garde writing and enjoy your Halloween. But something didn't feel right. I had drinks with a veteran, freshman English instructor. He was the first year teacher in a new town. Me, the first year teacher in a new town, and he, the wily old mentor. Forgive me, I misspoke.
You're good. You're
I
good.
told him I told him about the assignments and the stories Jake and Kate turned in. He laughed and thought about it a bit more. That just seems off, he said. You said Jake and Kate conspired to play a joke? They were thick as thieves in my class at the start of the school year, but in the fall they stopped talking. Wouldn't even look at each other anymore. Had some sort of falling out. I guess they made up. For the next few weeks, I watched Jake and Kate closely, in my class and in the hallways. They didn't speak once, never even looked at each other. I scheduled a story conference with Jake, and I let him know how much I enjoyed his growth as a writer, especially his Halloween flash fiction piece. I grinned and told him that his prank with Kate had totally burned me. Jake smiled awkwardly. We got you, huh? He said. It was Kate's idea. Everything was made up, he claimed. There was no 89.1, and he had no grandmother who passed away at home. All of the characters and situations were straight 100% fiction. I told him good job, and to keep writing. Still, the situation seemed amiss, like I was missing part of the act. Was it possible that these two were so committed to screwing with me that they wouldn't even speak at school? Or maybe they were dating and didn't want anyone else to know, so they played it cool in the hallways and in class. They were 15-year-old kids, after all. That seemed reasonable, but it was keeping me awake at night. Nothing else mattered. I taught during the day, and I obsessed over the stories in the evening. News, sports, and current events faded to the background. The real world slipped away. I pushed forward. Armed with a couple of possible last names, thank you, school records, I called senior citizen homes in the area. I was trying to track down my mom's old friend Rosie, I told them. Each phone call followed the same script. The receptionist went through the files and found nothing. No one there by either last name I had. I scoured the internet, and I spent too much time in the stacks of the local library. I found no folklore or urban legends relating to 89.1, and each time I felt like quitting, I pulled out my photocopy of Kate's story. She had visited Jake's grandmother. It simply felt so real. I knew it wasn't fake. In a last-ditch effort, I spent a lot of time alone in my bedroom, listening to the static of 89 point, with my eyes closed and the door slightly ajar. I'd hone in on the static, and I'd listen deeply and intently for the chimes of the organ, the harsh and troubled screams in the distance, and the clinkety-clink of the metal chains. Sometimes I'd think it was there, and I just had to focus a little harder. And I'd sense a presence in my bedroom about to creep out of my closet, the dark mist waiting to drag me away. I wanted it to come, because I wanted this story to be real. But it didn't come. One day at school, I saw Jake and Kate smiling and laughing at Jake's locker. I walked past them, and Kate winked at me. That was the clincher. I finally succumbed to the notion that I'd been had. It was over. I ended my search for 89.1. I had drinks again with my colleague, many drinks this time, and I drunkenly told him everything I'd been doing. He found my investigation ridiculous and ultimately dangerous. You like stories too much, he said. If I didn't know any better, it's almost like you're trying to write one of your own. Just let it go. I pulled out the photocopied stories from my back pocket, and I pressed them down on the bar, staining them with splashes of beer. My colleague picked up Jake's story, and he took a look at it for the first time. His eyes skimmed the page, and they stopped. Cold. Wait, he said. You never told me about Abby. I shrugged. Abby was Kate, I told him. It was all part of the game. I wonder, he thought aloud to himself. Hmm. He laid it out for me. A year ago, about 10 months before I moved into town. An 8th grader named Abby had gone missing, seemingly vanished into thin air. One minute she was alone in her room, and the next minute she was gone. Some suspected that she ran away, but there were no clues, no evidence of foul play, no suspicious or shady family members or neighbors. She was simply gone. I read Kate's piece again. My heart sank. The whole time, I assumed it was about her visiting the grandmother, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe the squeaks and pleas coming from the closet were coming from Abby. Kate never specified who she was visiting or where she was. I read the avant garde flash fiction one more time, honing in on every word just to be sure. And at that moment, everything changed. I spoke with the school administration, they contacted the authorities, and the police had conversations with Jake and Kate. It went nowhere. It didn't matter that Abby had lived across the street from Jake. It didn't matter that we had words on paper. They were just stories, the kids said. Only story. Complete fiction. Jake had no grandparents in a home anyway. They were sorry if they'd scared anyone. They were Halloween stories after all, and pretty ambiguous stories at that. Jake even tearfully apologized for naming a fictional character after a missing girl. It hadn't crossed his mind. And I was now the monster for dragging two innocent kids into this mess. The staff ostracized me, and the town crucified me. I was done. I left the teaching profession soon after that. I walked out of the school holding my small crate of supplies, and Kate smirked at me with a knowing glance through a first floor window. I haven't seen her since. I didn't take much with me, but I did take the photocopies of the stories. I pull them out occasionally and relive the past, and sometimes, late at night, I'll get a fire in my belly and a burning desire to travel back to that small Wisconsin. Maybe Grandma Rosie was a great aunt that Jake's family referred to as a grandma, or maybe it was an elderly family friend. Maybe I missed something about the missing girl, about 89.1, about Kate's intentions. Perhaps I can try the ritual a few more times, just to see what happens. Or maybe it's all just bullshit. It was 10 years ago, and I'm probably the only one that thinks there's a shred of truth in those stories. I'd be wasting my time, but it still keeps me up at night. The slim chance that it's all true. And oftentimes, the idea of it is something I contemplate more than what really happened to Abby and the grandmother in the story. If it is true, why did the kids write it all down like that? I don't have a good answer. I'll never have one. I suppose that, just like me, they really just enjoy a good story.
Damn. That was a good story. Spooky. I love the ambiguity at the end of like, is it a real story? Is it fake? Ooh.
I love your cozy blanket
I
and
was
boba tea.
I was
I
I was
was
getting
like,
comfy.
I was like into the story. I was reading it, so I finished it, and I come back, and you're all like curled up
Yeah.
with like some nice boba tea.
I got stuck. Do you want a blanket? Oh wait, I don't think I can
I
add a
would
blanket to your
love,
character. Hold on, I'll find one. I'm gonna find one for you.
I would
Oh,
love a
wait,
blanket.
I know exactly what to do.
But yeah, I liked that story because as an English teacher, I think it's a really interesting concept of like, because you do read student stories, and sometimes you do get worried about what you read in them because you can tell they're drawing from real life. I like that one a lot as a teacher. I think it's a good story. I hope the dramatic reading was good.
I thought it was very good. Also, Jaggy says he had to pause his Spotify just to like really focus on this story. Yeah, we're still reading Reddit stories. That's the whole point of this.
It's
That's the whole point of this
spooky
stream.
story
It's
night.
spooky
It's
story
spooky
time.
story night, baby. I also have some spooky YouTube videos for us to watch later.
We could do that towards like maybe like the last hour, hour and a half. Here, I'll get a.
Yeah,
Here,
I have a couple. I have a couple videos tucked away. Blanky.
your turn. You get a blankie now.
Give me blanky. Give me a
You
tea.
get blankie.
Yes, tiny blanket for me.
Exactly. Now you're so comfy.
Now I can be comfy while you read.
Okay. Or what do you mean, or worse? Or worse what? I'm gonna,
What's worse?
gonna say
Photos of SpongeBob at the Christmas party.
no! Let's see. I'm looking at your stories. Oh, are you deleting the ones you've read? Okay, good.
Yeah, I just deleted. Do you want me to pick one for you to read now?
Yes, yes, yes. Pick one. Tell me which
Okay.
story link should I choose? You could read
Uh,
fanfic.com stories. Now that's real horror.
fanfic.com.
That's terrifying.
Fanfic.com is the real horror. Let me see.
Mr. Handsome's picking out the best story for me to dramatically read to you guys.
Oh, this one is good because this. Okay, I'm going to. I'm gonna pick one, and this one has dialogue. And what we could do is we could assign characters and read the dialogue.
I was gonna say yeah, because if this is the last story, because it is almost 9. We have been reading for about 2 hours, so we could do this one together and then switch over to spooky videos.
All right. Yes. So let me make sure this is the one I'd want for the last one, and it is a back and forth conversation between two people, and we can read that.
Okay, okay, I like that. I like that. I think that is a good idea.
Yeah, this one was a really good one. I liked the twist it took. It's just a good story. So click the link that says I have an unusual job, but the pay is good. It's this one.
Right here. I see it.
Yes.
I see it. Okay.
Now I'm going to dictate these characters as the medium and the client TM.
Okay.
Would you prefer to read the client or the medium?
Let's see.
I can pick based on my knowledge of the story.
If you know the story better than me, then you should probably pick.
Why don't you read the client, because that is a woman, and I think my voice is a little too deep to convincingly do a woman. Then again, the medium's also a girl. I will read medium. You can read client. Would you prefer to read the narration, or should I?
I'll do the narration.
The narration is from the medium's perspective.
Oh, okay. Then if it's from her perspective, then I'll do that.
Okay. So the first line is the medium, so I will read that, and then. Am I doing narration?
Oh wait, I thought my brain was dumb. I thought I was the medium.
That's okay.
Okay, no, you'll do the narration then, because if you're the medium and it's from the medium's perspective, then you should probably do it.
Okay, I will start reading the story, and then when it's the other lady talking, as we follow along, you read.
The client sounds like a noir femme fatale.
Oh, just you wait, buddy. It takes quite a twist. All right.
Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy!
So here's another Reddit story, guys. It's called "I have an unusual job. The pay is good, but I really hate the moaning sounds that go with it." Enjoy.
What a title. All right.
So, I croaked, ignoring her wince at my raspy voice. "You're worried that your dead husband is haunting you when you fuck other men?" I inhaled a long drag of the cigarette, then took care to blow the smoke just far enough from her face to avoid being rude. She didn't flinch, which meant she thought I had a lot to offer. Pretty little thing she was, nearly 30 years old, though I'd estimate the age of her modified chest to be about 3. Her good looks stemmed mainly from the fact that she'd clearly avoided a lifetime of hard work. I probably would have been equally attractive 25 years ago had my twin passions been vanity and stupidity. This gal was taken care of. Her expression glazed for just a moment, I noticed.
No, she offered timidly. It's nothing like that.
She looked up at me with wide eyes that had been conditioned to elicit sympathy. I noticed.
It's just... she bit her lip. It's just that Raymond's been gone a month, but I don't think that he's gone, you know? I want to know if I should put him behind me or... She shed a tear. It started out small. His favorite sweater would be hanging in the closet, but the next morning it was lying on the bedroom floor. Not a big deal, you know. She looked... Oh, wait. Yeah, it's you.
She looked around conspiratorially, despite the fact that no one was in the brightly lit sun porch besides the two of us. As if sensing my thought, Sophocles rubbed up against my skirt. I reached down and scratched his ear without turning away from my client. She stared right back at me, looking over the swirling vapor dancing from the teapot's spout.
But then, she breathed, flushing slightly pink, I would be, in an intimate moment.
Masturbating or fucking? I asked bluntly.
Her face.
Her pink face. Oh yeah, her pink face quickly turned crimson.
um, the first one. I'd hear a sudden banging on my bedroom door. It would go away whenever I stopped what I was doing.
What makes you think it's your dead husband? I pressed her, crushing my cigarette and lighting a new one.
She gazed down at the table. He would always interrupt me, even if it wasn't about anything naughty. She looked up at me in desperation. It just feels like him. Does that make sense? She bit her lip again. But the worst thing was last night. That's what made me decide that it was time to talk with a professional.
God, her cute little pauses and blushing were irritating. I really wanted to slap. Explain, I ordered cavalierly before taking in that first drag. A long pull of the cigarette really makes people like her worth it. What was her name? Cindy? She seemed like a Cindy. But the Cindys of the world always scatter from my mind for just a few seconds during that first sensual puff. In those moments, I feel so capable.
Last night,
I coughed. Reality set back in. Listen, Cindy.
it's Aunt Samantha.
You must have jilled off thousands of times in your life.
I'm sorry, chilled?
Well, are you a jack from the waist down?
She said she laid a dainty little hand right on her mouth. Oh, no, I'm a Jill, I suppose.
I grunted. So what's so different about jilling off now?
God.
uh, continue. Her eyes got wide again, but I had learned long ago to suppress the slap urge.
When I'm alone in bed, I hear breathing. Only when I'm alone. It's unmistakable.
Well, how hard are you working? I asked pointedly.
She dropped the hand from her face. The breathing is coming from the other side of the room.
I gave her an unblinking, fixed stare. She returned it. I finally turned away when a lump of ash fell from my cigarette onto the table. Here, I offered, pouring a cup of tea from the pot. I rested my hand on the painted grapefruit and lavender design to hold it steady. Drink this.
It's you. You keep going.
Ah, yeah. She took it obediently, blew on it, then took a sip and winced. Too hot? I asked sharply.
Too bitter, she responded coolly.
Too bad, I finished. Drink the whole cup if you want to see what's on the other side. She sipped as I spoke. You've told me that Raymond's been gone a month. You're broken-hearted, but you can't move on if he's still here. The shock was terrible, wasn't it? A hit and run while he was crossing the street right in front of your own home. The worst moments of your life were sprinting through the house, knowing what was outside before you saw it. The hope was the worst, because you knew that your husband's broken body would be lying in the street. But the smallest part of you hoped that it wasn't true, and that hope made it hurt so much more. You found him in a gory heap just beyond your front yard, and the future you'd imagined drained away like blood through your fingers. And it was in that exact moment, kneeling in the middle of the street at 7:13 p.m., that you realized your life had been permanently changed to a different path of someone else's choosing. I took an aggressive puff of the cigarette and pressed forward. The sun set while you held his already cooling hand, and you realized that this would be the first sunset you'd spend knowing he was dead, and that you would end every day with this thought on your mind from now on.
She blanched. I never told you that it was at sunset. I never even said it was a car accident.
I narrowed my eyes at her. The guilt was more than you expected, because part of you had actually cared about Raymond. Yes, he was old and boring. My God, you would never let him forget it. But he just felt so fucking frail when you crushed his spine with the car that the anger didn't seem to make sense in the moment. I blew smoke through my nostrils. He knew it was you, Cindy. You pulled the car into the driveway and rinsed off the blood so fast that no one even thought to check it for evidence. But he knew. And as he lay dying, unable to speak through shattered lungs, he stared at you without hate, malice, or vengeance. It was simple confusion, Cindy. Raymond never considered that you did it for the cash. His dying thought was wondering how he'd somehow been a bad husband, and he felt guilty for not knowing why. Her eyes were shimmering with tears that I believed were genuine, but I didn't give a shit. Her cup of tea was empty.
I was so careful.
She whispered in a pitch that was just below the only dogs can hear threshold. I rolled my eyes. No, you weren't, sweetie. People are just stupid. And that's the only reason you've gotten away with everything so far. Really, putting $619,138 cash in a briefcase is just asking for trouble. Her jaw hung in shock.
How could you possibly have known?
I blew one last long stream of smoke from the cigarette. If I were in your shoes, sweetie, I'd be much more worried about how much poisonous oleander you just had with your tea. She slammed her hands on the table and grabbed the edges so hard the empty cup rattled in its saucer.
What did you do to me?
I pulled the cigarette butt from my lips and quashed it in her empty cup. Make peace with whatever god or devil awaits your heart, I answered flatly. Then I turned to look across the sun porch at the ghost only I could see. Raymond was a disgusting mess. His shattered spine had no hope of holding his torso rigid, so every limp limb flopped at unholy angles. A fountain of black blood oozed from his white lips and nose. His intestines protruded from his stomach like ground beef squeezed through grimy fingers, and the coils hung to the ground like sausage links. He stared at his young widow. Or, I should say, the one eye that hadn't popped to jelly was staring. I really think that Cindy would have been unnerved if she'd known he was there. Instead, she focused on me.
How long? When will it start?
She asked in utter petrification. In just a second, sweetie, I quipped casually, lighting up another cigarette. Raymond grunted. He wasn't much for talking, what with the lolling tongue dangling impotently. Yeah, hardly, where his missing jaw should have been. Oh, and one last thing, sugar. I leaned forward and gently rested my palms on the tabletop. Raymond wants to let you know that dying really, really fucking hurts. She froze, behind her, despite lacking a mouth. I could swear that Raymond was smiling. The convulsing started then, but it didn't stop for a long time. Do you have any idea how far mouth foam can spray when a dying woman just won't stop thrashing? I almost felt bad for her when I realized how hard she was trying to cry. That's a really fucking difficult task, though, when your throat is closing up. That's when Raymond sauntered over to her jittering body, knelt down, and gently grazed his dead fingertips across her cheek. He looked passionately into her eyes, and for just a moment, I think she looked back. Then she was gone. The ghost corpse took in the sight for a few moments before I interrupted him with a forced clearing of my throat. Ahem. He glanced up at me with his lone functioning eye. It was damp. I do appreciate your clear instructions on how to locate the briefcase. If everything is as promised, the bill will be settled. He grunted and waved his limp, floppy arm at the body of his dead wife. Her? I'll leave her in the backyard of your house. I snuck an oleander plant into the garden during one of my nightly visits. They're not uncommon here in Alabama, and they will explain her accidental death nicely. I wrinkled my nose. And I have to say, I'll be grateful to stop sneaking into your house each night to spook this murderous little witch. Her masturbatory moans made me gag, and I hate crawling through windows. I'm not 50 anymore, you know. I took in a deep breath of nicotine-laced air. He grunted again, dangling his unresponsive arm above the dead woman once more. I asked in genuine curiosity as I approached the corpse. There's something more? He shook more eagerly, spraying a fine mist of ghost blood onto the woman's purple face. Oh my, I whispered. I bent down and pried a ring from the woman's rubbery hand. There must be 24 diamonds on this, I sang. Then I slipped it onto my middle finger. It fit perfectly. Yes, thank you very much. I do accept tips for a job well done, you gentleman, you. This time I know Raymond was smiling. And I was too. My name is Patricia Barnes, and I'm a hitman for ghosts that only I can see.
Damn. Plot twist.
Yeah.
Ghost hitman, ghost hitman.
Ghost hitman, ghost hitman.
All
Yeah.
right. I I think that was a good story to leave off on, and then we can switch on over to some spooky videos.
Heck yeah.
Alright, give me just a moment and I will switch us over to the other screen so we can get the videos queued up.
It's time for spooky video.
It's time for spooky video. Alright, make sure I'm on my browser and we're looking at this one. We do not. So, well, she's not quite insane. She just can see ghosts and, you know, exact revenge on people who were killed unfairly.
I mean, Raymond told her where the briefcase is, and the wife was like, "How did you know that?" So, clearly, it's all real.
It's all real.
So so you clicked on the first one. Let me remind myself what the first one.
Yeah, I haven't clicked on it just yet.
Weird.
It's really good.
We can watch the first one. It's good and weird, and it doesn't have a ton of audio, so we can talk over it a lot.
Okay. All right, let's go. I have to adjust it. I don't know how loud it's going to be when I start, but
it has subtitles, and those are integral to the storytelling.
So I have to turn CC on, or does it come with it?
No, they're built into the video.
Okay.
Don't.
All right. So this one's called My House Walkthrough.
Yep. The sound of the wind woke them up in the middle of the night. A typhoon is in Japan.
So this is their room. Okay.
This is the room.
Oh, not the tatami mats. The room is very small.
Yep. Teeny room.
Man, look at all the... Oh, man, the doors.
Yeah, it looks a little shitty in here, my guy.
Yeah, like, bro, like... Oh, this is a certified hood classic for real? Oh, damn.
It is.
Well, am I about to see some shit? I don't know this one. What the fuck? An altar to the ancestors? Okay.
You gotta have one of those in your house. That's
Picture
important.
from World War II. I have some pictures from World War II or 1 in the town auxiliary hall. There's another hallway. Oh, whoa. Right? A doll room. Sir, why do you have a doll room?
Well, remember before he said he got a Hina doll.
What's the difference between a doll room and a Hina doll room? Or are they the same one?
So, I guess a slight difference is Hina dolls are for a specific holiday. So that's like a specific holiday doll room. They have a whole room for that.
Why is there music?
I don't know. I'm sure it's fine.
I don't like that I can hear
That's
music.
Their great-grandmother. That was their great-grandmother. Now there's more hallway.
More hallway. This is the bathroom. Dude, what happened to your fucking house, bro?
I mean, the person walking us through seems to think this is pretty normal.
You hear a sutra. Grandpa always listened to sutra from the radio. I don't know what sutra is, but okay. Oh, my eyes.
Sutras are like religious chants.
Oh.
The walls peel off from the ceiling when
I don't like this. Damn, I'm getting scared.
Remember, there's a typhoon in Japan.
I know, but
so it's probably raining.
Oh god, that's the string.
It's the longest hallway in the
Why
house.
is it reminding me that there's a typhoon? Why is it reminding me there? This is wait a minute.
So, yeah, what? What's wrong? What's wrong?
How do we get back here? We didn't. What?
Yeah. Yeah, we're back in the bedroom.
What?
The tatami mats are damaged.
Yeah,
as Logan the Drogon says, part of the setup here is the idea that clearly this house was hit by the typhoon. But also it seems that there's other issues the typhoon didn't cause in here. You know.
I'm feeling a little uncomfy.
You're uncomfortable.
I'm a little uncomfy. I'm a little uncomfy right now. I'm scared. Why is there a rope hanging from the ceiling? I don't remember that rope.
That room was closed up by his grandfather. There's another hallway.
I'm so scared. I'm like, I got my hands ready because I'm like terrified.
Don't worry, it's just another hallway.
I don't like how dark it is in here. I'm scared.
This is the longest hallway in his house.
I wish this. Damn, I'm gonna need like crying emotes or something for this werewolf. I don't want this.
The room was closed up by Grandpa.
No, no. No, not another hallway.
I wonder why Grandpa closed up so many rooms.
Why did Grandpa close the rooms there?
More hallway.
The roof leaks.
The roof leaks. There's a typhoon in Japan.
The walls peel from the ceiling when it rains. I don't like the sudden light switches. Like how it's so dark. It's so dark. And when you turn left, there's another hallway.
There's more hallway.
I'm scared. I'm coming.
I've seen this video before and I love it, and it's why I'm just sitting here like,
I'm
look,
so uncomfy. I'm so uncomfy. The ceiling. What is that? That looks like hair.
Does it?
There's
I
rats.
don't think
That
so.
looks like hair, Dare. Is this fucking?
Nah, it's just a bathroom.
Every time he
It's a
turns a
rat's
fucking
nest.
corner, my heart is going.
Listen,
Holy
he said
shit!
it's rat
I
nest,
don't
dude.
think
It's
Dare.
rat nest.
Dare. That's not a rat's nest. I don't think that's a
It's
rat's
a rat
nest.
nest.
If it's a
It's
rat's
a
nest of hair.
house
No,
up
the.
there, dude. It's another hallway.
I don't want to look at it. I'm scared. I'm waiting
More
for something to
hallway.
scream at me. What the fuck is that? What is that room? This room is a dress room.
Nothing.
You didn't mention the dress room before.
It's a new room.
Why is there a new room? What? Why
there
is there
is.
so much blood? Oh
It's just
my
his grandma's
god.
dresses.
My grandmother's not here.
it's just her dresses.
Oh, the holes have been eaten by accidents and turned black to look like bloodstains. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
that's what it is. Why are
yeah,
you
it's just
going
this
in
one.
here? There's a mannequin. I don't like this anymore. I'm really intensely anxious. I know. I'm just
happy I can make
waiting.
you
I'm waiting for something. Oh, not the doll room. Don't go into the doll room,
No, no,
please.
no,
I
it's
swear to God, don't go.
This is just this guy's house.
I don't
know why
like
he's
this
so
guy's
upset.
house.
Oh, this is where he lives.
Sir,
Or they.
sir, ma'am, they, whatever you are, your house scares
where
the
they
fuck
live.
out of me.
It's just this is the nice doll. here.
I'm so fucking scared. I need a blanket right now, man. Fuck, I need a blanket.
It's just the dolls.
I don't like the. He turns those fucking corners so quick, and I'm just waiting for something to be standing there.
The car. Do you notice the hair in the jar?
The what?
Did you not notice the hair? In
There
the
was
jar?
hair in the jar?
Yeah, the jar was knocked over and there was hair falling out. I thought you noticed that.
I
considering
didn't
you saw the hair in the
notice.
bathroom.
I didn't notice.
I was like noticing you weren't saying anything, and I was like, I know that'll freak her out, so I should point it out.
No.
Did you spook yourself?
There was a crunch in the there was a crunchy sound.
There was.
Here,
Oh God, the sound.
hold on, wait, I'll stream it on Discord so you can see exactly where I am. So that, cause I know there's a little lag. Hopefully this won't fuck with the stream too bad. Okay, my grandfather's always listening to the suture from the radio.
listening to the suture.
It's currently 6:15. When I turn left, there's another hallway.
There's another hallway.
Why
Some
are there so many hallways? This is the longest hallway in my house.
Realistically, this house must have a lot of real estate and square footage. They must be really rich.
Not the
Hina doll room.
Not the Hina doll room.
Oh, lovely. I
Wha-
see it put down
Oh,
newspaper to protect.
Oh goodness, oh goodness.
No one's been in here for a long time, you see.
I can't. My eyes are having such a hard time focusing.
That's kind of the point.
These dolls are all rotten. There's
dolls are
there's
rotten.
why does it look like there's hair on that top left one?
I don't know. You keep seeing hair everywhere, dude.
Why is there hair everywhere?
Grandma's not here.
Why are we looking for Grandma?
Well,
Oh,
she's
like-
not here, so
I don't
you
like
gotta
that.
go find her.
Why is Grandma here? Where's
Gotta go
Grandma?
find Grandma.
The altar to the
she's not
ancestors
here.
again. Okay.
Oh, did you see how?
Wait, I
the
saw the hair!
face
I saw the hair!
on the thing?
I saw the hair! There's hair!
It's also-
There's hair under that clock!
Are you sure about that?
I fucking saw hair, Dare! That's hair! That's hair! That's hair!
I'm actually noticing that the pictures are getting more fucked up as we're going.
I
That's something new
thought that
I'm
was
noticing for
just
first
the
time.
house. I don't just.
No, the pictures are getting more fucked up as we're going. I'm noticing
like
this for the
this.
first time myself.
My
actually.
grandmama's bedroom. Why is it open now?
Grandma's bedroom. It's open. It's her
This
bedroom.
room has no taste.
It has no taste.
It
She
has
just
no
has no taste. She's just not good at decorating.
I don't want
The rest of the house, now that's taste.
This is grandma's
This
shoes.
room, yes. Yeah, there's her shoes. She has a
Okay.
lot of
Oh.
nice traditional.
The
Grandma's
crunch.
here.
Why is there hair? Why is there hair?
Did you see Grandma?
I didn't see Grandma. I saw a lump in the bed. Was that Grandma?
It said Grandma's here.
Oh, I didn't see the Grandma's here. Hi,
There's many
Grandma.
mouse turds.
Hi, Grandma.
And
Why is
hair.
there hair? Why is there hair coming out of it?
There's mouse turds and
Dear,
hair.
why is there so much hair? I don't want to.
Grandpa's not here.
Grandma.
Though.
Oh, Grandma's here. Hi, Grandma.
Here's your
Hi.
suitcase.
Why does it look like flesh? Why does it look like flesh? Logan,
I mean-
Logan, I'm scared. I know. I am gonna cry.
You're really freaking out, dude.
Yeah, I don't. This is like darkness and like cramped spaces get my anxiety majorly.
The thing is, I love this video so much. Like,
I mean, it's
adore this
good.
video.
It's really good horror. I can't lie, but also like.
Yeah, it's freaky. Yeah, no, it's good.
Cause like my anxiety is getting really high
Oh, there
just
was hair
waiting.
under the picture.
Oh, there was hair. I didn't even see the hair.
There's more hair.
Why is it so red?
Oh, wait, yeah, the bathroom wasn't that red.
Oh my god, there's a doll in the
Did you see
sink.
the fucking doll in the sink?
Yeah, there's a doll in the sink. It's so red.
It's like floating face
Ah!
in blood. My grandfather is.
Hey!
I never noticed that. You see that up
Yeah,
there?
I saw
Grandpa.
Grandpa.
Grandpa is here.
Oh, it's so fleshy looking.
What? So, yeah,
Why
so
is it
there
so
a hall in the
red?
bathroom?
Why is it
Yeah,
so
that's really
red?
There's another hallway.
Oh, it looks like flesh. Oh, it all looks like
Oh,
flesh.
whoa, yeah.
Oh, my stomach. Oh, my
I hear it.
stomach. I hear the sutra.
He's
Yeah.
always listening to
Grandpa
Sutra
loves
Friday.
his sutra. It's so red
Grandpa
and
really loves
fleshy.
the Sutra.
I don't want to
There's more
look.
hallway.
I'm scared to keep looking. It's
Well,
like
you
a
gotta keep watching.
it's like a car wreck.
Hey, at least there's no more hair, right?
Yeah, there's no more hair. Now it's just
I don't see the
flesh-covered
Actually,
walls.
I take that back. I think there's more hair later. I take
Don't you
that
say that,
back.
don't
I
you say
wanna
that, don't you
set
say
up for failure.
Why is it?
I distinctly
it's
remember
so
there being more hair.
fleshy. There's
Well,
so
because the
much
ceiling rotted and fell away.
flesh.
The ceiling rotted. There's rat's nest above the ceilings. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I'm noticing he's saying the stuff from the dress room, but not in the dress room. You're in the hallway, my guy. Why are you saying? I think he's losing it.
I think he's losing it too.
This is his room.
I don't. There's a typhoon in Japan.
There's a typhoon.
What is? Oh, that's a fan. Oh, that's a fan. Okay. Oh,
It does look a little wonky, doesn't it?
I thought it was like a fucking like tumor.
No, it's a
Look at this place. It's all.
sweet dreams.
I hate that. I hate everything about that. God.
Dreams.
Also, hold on. I gotta go back to Streamlabs. No, Stream Elements. I gotta go back to Streamlabs to fix it. But oh,
Did you enjoy my first pick for you?
I did. I loved it because it. Oh, my stomach hurts. Oh, the fleshiness. Oh. Dare, there's one thing you gotta know about me. I fucking hate hair. I hate hair so much. Because
I'm glad to know this, because now I can select more horror for you based off this.
No. It's not that I'm like scared of hair, it's that it makes me feel sick. Like physically, like I will vomit at the sight of hair.
Interesting to learn this about you.
Yeah, you see, because of how many dogs I have, I ingest hair
Oh.
frequently.
Is that why you have like a thing about Sadako and Dead by Daylight?
Well, no, Sadako just freaks me out, but like dead hair or just hair where it shouldn't be freaks me out because like between like the fact that me and my sister and my mom all have long hair and the dogs, we frequently get hair on our food and I hate the feeling of dead
need to
hair on my
introduce
tongue.
I need to introduce you to like some of the Grudge movies and games because the whole aesthetic of that is just hair covering things that it should not be.
No, I know, and it makes me sick.
Let me look at this. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the options of the last two videos.
Okay,
Here.
hold on, I
Well,
need to
actually,
drink water.
Here,
Oh.
I'll let you pick which one you want first. So here's the one-word prompts: Animal Crossing, mirrors. Which one would you prefer?
Mirrors. Nikara over hates hair. Also, Nikara is over a
You would
literal werewolf.
prefer mirrors. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm gonna give you a fair warning. The mirror video, it's the first one, so you can click that link. I'll give you the fair warning that you know how much of a horror buff I am and how hard I am to scare.
Oh no.
This one actually scared me pretty badly the first time I watched it, and I watched it like maybe a week or two ago.
Oh goodness. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna get queued up. I'm gonna get ready and loaded, but I'm gonna go grab a
So yeah,
blanket really quick because I'm gonna need comfort.
because the house freaked you.
The house freaked me out. Well, like because like I've seen quite a few horror movies, before, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so of course, like I've seen a lot of the popular ones, and you know how it is
Yeah.
popular here with like Western media to use jump scares in horror.
Yeah. So you were prepping yourself for a jump scare the whole time.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
waiting for the inevitable, like, oh,
The jump
Grandpa's
scare.
standing in the
Yeah.
hallway and he, like, his
That's
jaw
so
dislocates and he
that's
screams at you.
yeah, so that's why I really like Japanese horror, 'cause it's a lot more dependent on atmosphere and aesthetics,
Oh,
and it slowly builds up the tension instead of like jump scaring you.
there was a video I watched not too long
Hmm.
ago about a specific Japanese horror movie. I can't
Hmm.
remember the name of it off the top of my head. I can't, cause like
Hmm.
there was one video I watched about the whaling, but I don't remember if that was the one specifically with this. But
Hmm.
like the horror of this dude, like he's standing in a hallway, right, and he looks back down the hallway and you cut to a shot where it's like looking at the hallway, and like just barely in the shadows you can kind of make out the silhouette of a woman, and she's just
Ooh.
standing there. But like, and then she
Yeah, there's no
starts,
jump.
there's
She's
no
just
jump, she's
there.
just standing there, and she stands there for a few minutes, and then the part comes in where she starts walking, but not like a normal
Yeah.
walk, she's like really slowly walking.
So it reminds me of like if you're not done, you can finish
Yeah,
it.
no, I gotta tell you, but I gotta describe to
Yeah.
you the walk because that's what makes it
Okay.
scary.
Mhm.
So she
Yes,
starts
yes, yes.
walking like almost like a human, like trying to walk as perfectly as possible. But at
Oh.
one point, like she takes a step with like her right foot, and then she swoops down like she's looks like she's about to kind of fall. But
Oh,
then
hey, we're
she
being
gets back
rated.
up again. Ooh, Kitsune-san Gaming is here with a party for hello, hello. You have joined us
Hi.
just in time. We just got done reading some scary stories, and now we're on some spooky
Watching scary
videos.
videos.
Yes.
Yeah.
So fair
Um.
warning if you are like afraid of horror movies or like dark themes, violence, anything
Yeah,
like
this is
that,
not
this
the
is not the
stream for
stream for
you.
you. But I'm Nakara Leinen, and I am a werewolf VTuber, and I am here with my bestest friend. Ow! Thank you, like horse. I am here with my bestest friend RodKeel, our little possum boy, who has crawled out of the
Hello.
depths of the Ohio trash.
I was gonna say hello. I am RodKeel. I'm an Ohio possum, and I have my own channel. I'm just here collabing. I'm vibing.
Oh, you gotta run, can't handle spooky. Ow, ow,
Can't
ow,
handle
ow,
this.
ow, 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 thank you, thank you. If you
Then
can't hit,
take care of
yeah,
yourself.
take care
kid.
of yourself. Thank
Yeah,
you for
take care of
rating.
yourself. Can't handle it. Yeah, thanks for dropping by.
Yeah, my friend said this one is particularly scary because he's a.
Yeah.
You explain
So
it. You explain it.
so for chat and for the raiders who do not know me, the possum, I'm a big horror fanatic. Like I watch horror movies for fun.
Me too.
And
Ah,
this next
oh,
video
Mississippi,
that
thank
I
you.
have hand selected for us freaked me out pretty bad the first time I watched it, mostly because here's the thing that I want y'all to pay attention to.
I'm
The
gonna
way
drink.
this was filmed is ingenious. The cinematography, superb. It's really hard to figure out how they shot it the first time you watch it. It's really good, and that adds to the horror.
Hold on. I almost
Yes,
forgot
so
to grab
whenever you're
another
ready.
drink because like Horace just redeemed a sippy, and I was like, oh no, I don't have a drink.
Ah, well, while you're doing that, I'm gonna continue our conversation. So we
Go
were
ahead.
talking about subtle horror, and you were talking about like stuff that isn't a jump scare but is left in the background to scare you.
Mhm.
One of my favorite instances of that, again, as a horror buff English teacher nerd, is Hereditary, the film Hereditary.
Yes.
One of my favorite instances is, do you remember the scene? And this is a bit of a spoiler for Hereditary. Do you remember the scene where Peter is sitting on his bed and he just woke up and his ghost's broken?
Yes.
And it's like dark, and he's like, where's my family? What's going on? And if you happen to look in the top left corner of the screen, his
You
mother
see
is
his
just
mother?
on
The ceiling.
She's just, there's no jump scare sound effect. There's nothing that draws your attention to it. She's just up there. And the first time I watched it, I didn't notice her for like a second. So when I noticed her, it freaked me out more because I was like, how long has she been there? And then she just starts swimming through the air no sound effect, nothing. And you're sitting there and you're like, well, that makes me uncomfy. So,
Yeah. Oh, I
so
love.
yeah, I think
Oh, it's so
subtle
good.
horror is the best.
Yes. All right.
Okay,
I am
what are we doing?
prepared. Let me redeem the sippy for Eddie. Okay. And it's go
I
time.
also took a sippy.
Oh, thank you. All right, it's go time, everybody. Strap in, get something comfy. You know, hug your dog, hug your mom, hug your bestie, your partner. I don't know, and get ready for spoopy.
I love this. I love this one so much, and this one also doesn't have a lot of dialogue, so we can talk.
Oh, good. Okay, we can interject our
Yeah,
thoughts. I'm so sorry,
yeah.
chat. If you wanted a silent listening, yeah, I'm so sorry. You're this is the wrong channel for you.
Now this is commentary. Also, I love
Cause
how she's like, dark spooky stairs, sign that says "Do not enter." Perfect.
Nakara has to talk because if you are ever the unfortunate person who ever listens to or watches a horror movie with me, I
Oh,
have
I
to
also
talk.
talk.
Yeah, I
I'm
have
the
to talk
exact
to keep
same,
myself
so.
sane. So
Ooh,
I'm so sorry if you ever come to like my place and you're like, let's watch a horror movie, and then I'm babbling the
I'm
whole
gonna
time.
talk. Yeah, same.
Oh,
That's why I love watching shit with you, because we'll both just babble. How
good.
do you feel about this two-mirror setup here?
This
Nakara?
is
How do you feel about this?
fantastic. Oh, it gets warped the further it goes.
Yeah. So there's a making
Oh.
of video that shows you how they made this, and it's really cool. But like I said,
It's like
like
a
watching it
what?
without knowing how they made it.
Did you see that
Yeah,
ripple?
see, it's no, I don't know what you're talking about.
I saw a ripple.
These are just normal mirrors. I don't know what
Yeah,
you're talking
very
about.
very normal mirrors.
Every dressing room is set up like this.
Yeah,
Obviously.
I mean, have I been in a dressing room with a two-mirror situation? No.
Literally never been in one, so
No.
that's why when I saw this, I was like, why would you set it up like this? Oh yes, this part.
Uh, wait.
It's,
Is something
it's
coming
fine.
through? What?
Buildings creak all the time.
No, I thought I
Don't
saw
mind
something coming through, but it's just the lip of the not the fabric, the material like
it.
drooping
Little,
down.
yeah. It's
I thought
ignore
it
that.
like shoved something through, and I was like, huh?
No, that's fine.
Wait a minute. Wait a.
Yeah.
Whoa! Look at the Yeah. See, it's even more warped now.
Yeah, it's fine. Oh look, he's not there.
Wait, that was a person at the
Oh.
end. What? Ah!
Yeah, it's a
Oh, I
person.
just saw it. Oh, I just saw it.
Yeah, it's a person.
Why is
See, if I were
oh,
her,
I
I
see
would
the
have
string.
already left. I don't know why she's still here.
Maybe it's like the infinite IKEA. You can't leave.
Oh. Hmm.
I
This is a
don't
totally normal
like this.
circumstance.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Put him
You
away.
don't?
Put him away.
I love
Put him
Look, he's
away.
coming.
Put him
He's
away.
coming for you.
I don't
He
want
wants to give you a
him.
hug.
Richard, go
He wants a
back.
hug.
Richard, go
He wants a
home.
hug.
See, it's like the infinite IKEA. You can't leave.
It's like the infinite IKEA.
I don't. Richard, go
You
home.
sealed your fate, man. You can't leave.
Why is this room
Man.
down a weird hallway?
I was gonna say, you know it's at the top of stairs. You know no one
Oh
can hear
no,
you.
here comes Richard.
He's a coming.
Oh, he's so crunchy.
I love his cronks.
Richard, why are you so crunchy? What if you just shatter the mirror?
Scrongly. He's a little scrimblow even. He's
Ugh.
coming.
Ooh,
he's
that labored breathing. Dare, I should be a VA
Now-
for a horror show.
I mean, same. I feel her decision in this moment is a fascinating one. She's like, I'll use my camera phone.
I thought she was gonna call like 911 or some shit.
Now she's like, I'm gonna check. Is he there?
He's not.
Also, I
there.
think I have the same phone as her.
I don't like that. He's in
Um,
front of her. He's in front of her. He's in front of her.
This way. This way.
I see him. I see him at the corner of the phone.
Just no, just.
I'm covering my eyes. I'm scared. Oh, it. Oh. Crunchy. Oh, now she has to take his place.
Now she's the lady in the mirror. I mean, in all fair warning, the stair said caution, do not enter, essentially.
Damn. Maybe we'll have to watch the making of some other time.
The making of is really good.
That was cool.
So she got hanged because the guy from the mirror crawled out and dragged her in and hung her, essentially.
I wonder what happens to the guy in the mirror now.
Yeah, so they used a mirror box to make that effect. We should watch the making of maybe you and me at another point to not drag on stream.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but for anyone who's interested, I highly recommend the making of that one because it's wow, chef's kiss cinematography.
Okay. So this one you said is Animal Crossing, right?
Yes, so this one is Animal Crossing horror. I hope you
Oh
enjoy.
my god.
I actually like this one. I actually like it didn't scare me that bad because again, horror aficionado, but I do think it's well done for horror. I respect the craft.
Okay, here we go, guys. Animal Crossing horror. Don't
Also,
peek.
fun fact, this is actually getting turned into a full-length feature film. I don't know how they're going to get around the Animal Crossing IP, but this is getting turned into a film.
I'm just interested and like kind of not excited to see Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Winnie the Pooh.
It's an like because Winnie the Pooh is now in the public domain, they can do whatever they want with him. So they're like, yeah, let's turn him into a horror franchise.
But yeah, for anyone who plays Animal Crossing, have fun playing after this one, because I actually had a little bit of trouble playing mine after this.
It's been a long time since I touched my Animal Crossing.
She vibing, she just playing Animal Crossing.
Oh, what? Couldn't read the dialogue.
It's just the dialogue that goes off when you open a drawer.
No, but it says like something.
That I changed.
Like a wardrobe or something.
Yeah, it's just saying it's a wooden wardrobe. The important thing is she's hearing sounds in her house.
Knock knock.
See, she's like,
oh no. I don't wanna look. I don't wanna look. I'm scared.
I love how easily I'm scaring you.
Yeah,
This
I'm very
is-
easily
this brings
scared.
such-
Jump
this
scares
brings
really
joy
get me.
to
I'm
my
gonna
heart.
hold on. I need to push my soda can away in case I like flip out and like flail my arms.
It's just like I really love horror and I love seeing other people get
Oh
scared.
my god.
Oh my goodness, it's the video game, but in real life. See, I don't understand why she's like, that's interesting, let's try other things. I would have immediately turned the switch off. I would have been like, well, that's bad. Yeah, see, she's like,
Yeah, this is like a perfect. Did she just like make a perfect one-to-one recreation of her room in Animal Crossing?
I think she did, because I think she's one of those people who's like, I'm gonna make my bed in Animal Crossing. 'Cause
Nah,
people
not
do
me.
that. Not me, but yeah, I think she is. See,
That's
she's
not
like, "Ooh,
horrific. That's
cool."
incredible. Yeah, I agree.
See,
I probably would
she-
be a little stupid and mess with it.
See,
Wait a
I
minute.
would have turned it off. I would have been like, well, that's worse. Oh,
Girl,
yep,
why did you put...
she's seeing something.
Uh-oh. Girl, why would you turn off all your lights?
Fun fact, I
What?
am watching this in the dark with you, so...
Oh, I'm not in the dark. What?
I'm in the dark.
I saw it move.
You saw him move?
I saw
didn't
him-
see anything there.
Ah,
It's just the door.
it's just the... Yeah, it's...
It's just the Animal Crossing door.
Don't look. Don't look. Okay, yeah, she's turning her lights back on.
She turned the light back on with the fucking haunted...
Oh, no, she didn't turn it on. It's because she
Yeah.
turned the switch off.
Oh.
Wait. Hello? I see a finky.
I see.
Maybe if I pretend it's not there, it'll go away. Because
Bitch, I
that
don't
works.
like-
That works for every horror movie ever.
It's too late.
You've
The
summoned him.
switch- the
You've
switch is
summoned.
haunted, it's too
uh,
late.
I was gonna say you summoned. Just long-armed Larry. You've summoned long-armed Larry.
He's here for your
Dare I
toes.
making my own horror story now? It's gonna be called
Long-armed Larry?
Long-armed Larry.
Why does that just sound like a knockoff Slenderman?
Yeah. Shh. I'm gonna make a long-armed Larry and the 9 notebooks.
Check and switch
Long-armed
again.
Larry has come for your pinkies.
Oh, he's not there anymore. He's gone.
I don't like that he's not there anymore. If anything, that makes me more scared.
He's not there anymore.
I don't. Oh,
Don't worry
girl.
about it.
Oh no, long-armed Larry is in your. Will you let me
Will you
out?
let me out?
No.
Oh.
Hey, long-armed Larry. You know it's very rude to enter people's homes without permission.
It's very rude. Like how she's like,
Scritchy, scritchy.
Oh.
No.
well,
Wait, wait a minute. I saw something in the background when she said no.
Yeah.
I told you it's long-armed Larry.
It's long-armed Larry. He's a couple.
He's a coming for your pinkies.
He's coming for your pinky.
You can thank Jaggy for that one.
Oh.
What the fuck?
love
Look,
how you
damn,
describe
long-armed Larry, he's thick.
Yeah.
Is he sitting on the bed now in Animal
Oh,
Crossing?
Animal Crossing.
Don't peek.
Don't
I see him! I see him!
Shy. Don't peek, I'm shy.
You shouldn't have looked. Now long-armed Larry's gone.
Oh, he said don't peek. Oh fuck, I forgot about. Will you let me? Just hit yes.
No. She hit yes.
Oh,
She hit.
yes.
She hit yes.
Well, your soul is forfeit. Oh god, fuck. Oh god, my cat jumped up on me and I
Oh,
fucking,
oh,
god.
you scared the shit out of me. I'm like, is there something in the background I'm not seeing?
No, it's my cat jumped on me and scared the shit out of me.
You've let
He
long-armed
did.
Larry out.
You've let him out. He's coming for your soul.
No, he's coming
not
for
in
your
the game
pinkies.
anymore.
Larry
It's 'cause
wants your
he's not in the game anymore,
pinkies.
girl. You let him out. I don't like that sound. Oh, she's trying to.
Oh no,
Yeah,
it
you let him out.
doesn't
He's not in
work
the game
anymore.
Yeah, he's not in the game anymore, girl. You let him
Long-armed
out.
Larry's not turning your lights off for you anymore. She's like,
Don't
ha ha ha!
relax like it's
I'm
over, it's
safe.
not.
He's gone. Larry's
You
not
let him
gone.
out. Larry,
He's
I love
right
how you
there.
affectionately named him Larry.
I'm not looking. I'm not looking. Oh,
Don't peek, he's shy.
I don't peeky shy.
He's shy, don't look at him.
Oh, my throat. Oh no, the switch! You dropped it!
Oh no, the switch.
Not
Do you
my
know how
switch.
expensive and rare those are?
Yeah, come on. Not Larry. Oh no. Scritchy, 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 scritchy. That was pretty good.
Do you like the horror that
I
I've
like long-armed
cultivated for
Larry.
you?
I don't know how you drag something like that on for 70 minutes or
No,
longer.
that's what I was thinking. So,
Yeah.
Logan, I agree. Like, I watched this and I heard they were making a movie, and my first thought was also, I don't know how you'll make a full movie plot out of that, because that's a perfectly succinct storyline for a short little like that.
I just
So I agree.
Jaggy.
It's
It's a me, a laddie. Alright, now we need to find more spooky movies.
I was gonna say, that's what I had prepped, but I can quickly look for some more horror videos that I remember
Okay.
as well. Let me
I love anything
browse.
paranormal too. Paranormal is great.
Also, anyone who
You
has
spelled
any
Chris Pratt wrong! Ah!
Chris Pratt.
It's a Mushroom Kingdom,
Oh.
here we come.
I mean, I know one that I really like, and it is horror, but it's very stylized and it's very unique. Look up here. I can send it to you. Hold on.
Okay.
I like, so basically most of this stream has just been, here's some of what Dare thinks is good horror. Enjoy.
Listen, I trust your judgment.
I'm glad you trust. Here, this
As
video.
the person who was like, do Blueborn. Not gonna lie, you grew up watching The Saw and The Lost Boys when you were a kid. You'd low-key ask the monsters to leave your room.
So, funny story, actually, considering talking to the monsters or the ghosts or whatever, when I was redoing my bathroom in my house, I personally like to think that the ghosts of my family are still there, and I miss them, so I talked to them, and I'd be like, hey, could you knock something over and let me know you're here? Could you do something? And they never did, but when the painter guy showed up to repaint some wood trim, I was telling him this, and he was like, why the fuck would you ask them to do shit? Why would you play like that? And I'm like, because I want them to do things.
Oh, this video, guys, is also called The Backwater Gospel, just so you know.
Yes, this is Backwater Gospel.
I just love that my mom caught me doing it and took me to church.
Yeah. Talking to the
Oh, I love
demons.
this style.
The animation is like supreme.
I
It's
honestly
good
can't
animation.
tell if it's 3D or 2D.
It's a mix of both.
Sane, what are you doing in my room again? No, you can't use the Xbox. Get out.
Get out.
Wait, why does this look familiar?
The clips of this get used in a lot of things.
feel like we've watched this together.
Have we?
Back in college.
Maybe we did.
This, I don't know, something about it feels familiar. Satan, come on, I told you, GTA San Andreas on Saturdays only. It's the mortician. Fear the Lord.
Oh. It's church time.
I don't care if you don't have to. I don't care if you don't have to torture people tomorrow. It's a school night. Me too. Me too.
Why don't you try it, bitch?
I'm gonna turn it up a little more.
People, that's all it takes. One bad apple and the whole barrel is spoiled. Do you want to save that barrel?
Oh no, they're gonna kill
I
him.
love him just vibing.
Those poor bastards! Ah! Oh my god, Nevi, look, it's you!
Oh my god, Nevi, look, it's you.
Nevi, it's your cousins!
It's Nevi and all his family.
Yeah, just so you know, guys, Nevi guest starred in this animation.
Every man was punished for the sins of one man. And the punishment
Good old Bible talk.
was death.
Those teeth, bro, I think you need to brush better.
Undertaker's kid.
Well, it ain't gonna be me.
I love, well, it ain't gonna be me.
I love the painted on mouths for when they talk.
Yeah, the animation, like I said, is just chef's kiss.
Even Bubba.
Sorry, Bubba. Bubba's out of here, man.
Yo, Bubba heard the Undertaker's coming. He ain't coming. He ain't waiting.
Here he comes, here he comes.
Oh.
I love this idea of Undertaker showing up is like a sign someone's gonna die, like they have this like sixth sense.
Yeah.
I love that concept. They just know, so they show up and wait.
I remember when there was a ghost in my house, my mom called a priest to do a cleanse, and she told me, hide your drawings?
But
What? Oh, he's here.
you're gonna have to expand.
Yeah,
upon
you. Oh,
that.
Kami, you gotta expand.
What were those drawings? Were you drawing demon sigils? What are you?
Well, the Grim Reaper does not come for the living, so it makes sense. God, the visuals are great.
I love this short.
I like how everybody's like watching the doors, waiting for him to just come in to take him.
Who is he waiting for?
Who is he waiting for?
Guide us.
To be honest, my mom was called when I was in kindergarten for a drawing. What drawing?
What did you?
Okay, well,
What are
Jack.
y'all drawing?
Well, Jaggy liked to
What
draw
are you-
monster houses, grotesque drawings of bloodied houses that were alive.
I see.
You're
I
a
thought
little
the
too
look-
silly. What's he doing? Oh, they got the crosses out.
They hear the church bell.
Lord is
They're going back to
testing
church.
us, people.
Ah, right.
7 days.
7 days.
Tormented because that son of perdition refuses to fear the Lord. How long
Good old religious
must we
fanaticism.
suffer from his wicked ways?
I love this one though, because like most people, when I think of like trying to sell the religion, is like to love the Lord, right? That the Lord is good and that the Lord is here to protect
Well,
you.
I was gonna say, if you actually read, like Catholicism and all that, no, it's mostly sold on fear.
Be still.
Oh
and this
shit.
does more accurately cover it. Like, as someone who was raised Catholic, this is, yeah, love the Lord or else, indeed.
Yeah.
But there he goes.
Let he who is without sin cast the first stone.
Oh, the imagery.
Yep.
Fascinating.
He ain't moving, though.
Mashed potatoes SFX? Who is it?
Mashed potatoes.
Oh no.
The Lord ain't pleased.
You have killed one of his children.
Yeah.
Well, it ain't gonna be me!
That's why I love that. Well, it ain't gonna be me. Starts killing. I love the animation.
You have brought this upon us!
Oh shit!
Bible gum, the classic.
Fascinating. Your dad is getting silly? Oh no. Yeah, Bubba's the one you should really fear. The Undertaker really did come for them all.
Just you wait, you'll see the end shot.
The rainbow!
Lord ain't said nothing about this iron is a good fucking take. Yeah, yeah, came for the whole town. Yep.
He came out of retirement for one more match. And also the imagery too of all of this blood is spilled, but the guy who was first stoned is still
Yeah.
like sitting in the middle. That is awesome.
I love that. I love that short. It's so good.
That was fantastic. The song too.
It's good. I love this short.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that the band is called Sons of Perdition too.
Yep. Yeah, because they called the guy a son of perdition.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very good.
Very good indeed. I'm almost like, is there any end scene? No, it's just credits. So is there anything at the end? Good song though.
No.
That was
Yeah.
good.
I'm glad you're liking all my picks. I'm glad that I've got taste.
Indeed, you have taste.
I have good taste, dude. I'm so good at this.
The good horror movies, the good horror films, short films, anything. But yeah, no, I think we definitely did see this film like back in college.
Huh.
Cause yeah, I don't know why, but I have this feeling, like this deja vu moment.
The thing with this is that whenever you listen to like dark cowboy songs, a lot of people use clips of this to make like AMVs, I've noticed.
No, I
So
don't listen to
I've seen it-
AMVs.
I, I just mean that they use it in the background of songs a lot. Like even
Oh.
just like when you're looking for a song, it gets used a lot. I feel like the animation gets shown a lot, but people don't actually watch where it's from. That's where I've seen it before.
Oh, I haven't seen it in anything like
So I
that
don't
before.
know. So I don't know, dude. Maybe we did watch it.
I wouldn't be
Maybe-
surprised if we did.
Perhaps. So
Perhaps.
should we try to find something else, or maybe we could just talk about horror and spooky more?
I could. Ooh, I could do a little bit of the. It's not like horror per se. It's like
Mhm.
like dystopian kind of stuff. You share the feeling too that this animation ain't strange. Um, we can't. I don't think we'll be able to watch all of it, but
Mhm.
let's see. There's Merry Madness or Autodale. Probably Autodale. I really like this one because it's like a dystopian future kind of thing.
Hmm.
But I need to figure out which one was it again. The first one is, yeah, it's being. I think it's Being Pretty.
It's 3 minutes long. We can watch
Yeah,
that.
they're all pretty short. They're all pretty short, but like, it's.
I've never
I
seen
think
this.
it's
This
kind
is
of
new to
horror.
me.
I think it's kind of horror in a way.
Well, so now I'll be able to judge your taste.
Good.
I am sitting comfortably.
Welcome,
Yes.
citizens of Autodale, to this PSA.
Dick Tower. Anyway.
Dick Tower.
Children, look around the room.
Chill.
Look at your father. He likes to read
Oh.
the newspaper and kick his feet up after a
Oh.
hard day's work. He provides for your family. Your
Oh.
father is pretty.
I
And then, children, look at your mother. Isn't her
Okay.
cooking splendid? She also keeps
Oh.
the house clean and she reads you bedtime stories every night. Your mother is pretty.
Uh,
And now,
okay.
children, look at yourselves. You're young, you laugh, you play. You may scrape your knees from time to time. You have friends. You and your friends get up to all sorts of playful mischief. One day, children, you will grow up to be just like one of your parents, and you will build a family of your own. One day, you will be pretty. Now, finally, my pretties, look outside at your lovely neighbors. You're pretty. You're pretty. You're pretty. But alas, children, not everyone is pretty. Some
I knew
are
this was coming.
ugly. We don't
Some-
want uglies, do we, children? You are ugly. You are ugly.
Oh,
You
shit.
are ugly. We
Why,
take
though?
the uglies away, so that you and your friends and your neighbors and your family can stay pretty. Remember that, children.
What makes them ugly, though?
You'll see.
They looked the exact same.
And this concludes today's PSA, citizens of Autodale. Children, like your parents and their parents before them, always remember to stay pretty.
Hmm. Hmm. Disfigured? Oh. 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 Oh, great. That last one hit. Great.
Society.
I was about to say, oh, so cis heteronormative,
Yep.
fully able, great. Oh, who the fuck are you? What? You're not very pretty.
You don't need to know. You don't need to know who that is. It's fine. Everything's fine about that. It's a fine society. Society's fine.
So where can I get my mask that has gay taped to it?
And then we have No Monsters to continue the series. I love my bootleg AT-ATs. But yeah, this is very like it gives me like very like 1940s like house like nuclear family vibes.
Yeah.
Is it the monsters? Sweetie, there are no monsters here. Once upon a time, there was a little girl. She was pretty and smart, truly exceptional, just like you. Today, the girl finds herself outside of town. Bedtime is fast approaching.
James Lee?
Shadows dance between the trees. She too is scared of monsters. She starts running. A monster, she thinks. She begs for her family, for home, for safety. The girl is scared.
The girl almost
and
kind of looks like
alone.
6 with that hoodie.
But just as all seems lost, she is saved. The handymen have
Propaganda.
come.
Propaganda.
The exceptional girl has made it home, and the monster is gone. For there are no monsters here. Not in Autodale, sweetie. We are safe here. Do you understand?
Mommy, why don't you have a face?
Oh. Oh. Bitch, you're about to be killed. Why are you giving her up? What? Come on, dude. Y'all are marching for the like bottom pit. What? Where do you get off? Come on. Fucking being marched to the body pits and being like, my last action in life will to be being a snitch. Okay. Exceptional. What?
You're safe here, sweetie. Now,
Oh.
go to sleep.
What? Pardon? What?
You are
Society.
truly exceptional. Autodale needs more children like you. So smart and so pretty.
We need exceptional people.
You won't run from your monster? Will you, sweetie?
Because there's that, and there's, we gotta get to, okay, so it's children toys, and then we get to the freaks. Because it's this whole, like, little mini story. So yeah, this is children's toys. I love children's toys.
I'm pretty.
I'm pretty.
Imagination. So powerful. Your children are full of it. Always having their minds drift off into the wondrous and magical expanse of their creativity. Often visualizing brilliant and terrible things. Impossible things. It's a dangerous thing. Imagination.
It's a dangerous
But
thing. Can't have that.
an amazing thing.
Well, if that isn't just straight up the Body Snatchers ending. Yeah, I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen this. If they explain them.
Mean toys may make them bullies. Soft toys may make them queer. Have your child grow up with the correct influences.
Yep.
Have your
Soft
child
toys
grow
may
up
make them
pretty.
You have to make sure your child has the correct influences, Dare.
This
I'm gay because I
action
just
figure,
bought 2.
That's what
toys.
happened.
comes in
How
hand
dare
too,
you? How dare you? You didn't have the correct influences.
and a handy maiden
I
for
really
your
didn't,
little
dude.
boys and your little
Yeah,
girls.
you get the 2 toys, the only 2 toys, Handy Man or Handy Maiden, and that is it. And you,
And 5 memorable phrases.
the
Phrases
5
that
memorable
help inspire
phrases.
confidence in your child and help steer your young one in the correct direction.
She has it memorized.
Propaganda. I love
Toys.
propaganda.
Such imaginative and wondrous things.
I just can't get over soft toys may make them queer.
It's that 1940s, like, you know, vibe.
It's funny.
The robots.
Hello,
don't-
child. Don't worry, you're safe here in Autodale. You're safe here in Autodale.
Oh my god. You're giving this robot an existential crisis. Yeah. I don't like this.
The toys aren't just the correct influence either. They're here to influence the children to think these bots are okay.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I just.
Remember, children, these bots are nice because they're cute little children's toys. And they definitely don't do anything bad ever.
You're safe here.
You're safe here.
feel like if this child figures out too much, he's gonna get shot on the spot. Oh. You know, I will admit, I think part of why I don't watch this kind of horror as much is like my brain cells are acutely aware that in any of these dystopia settings, I would have been immediately shot on sight.
Toys. Such imaginative and
Toys.
wondrous things.
Oh my god. Ugh.
I think he's kind of noticing she's like, yeah.
He's like, oh, you're not buying into the propaganda, I will shoot you. No, girl, you had like one brain cell fire for once. Don't.
Bye
Ma'am.
bye.
Imagination. So powerful.
I just like the design of the freaks in the next one. Because I've seen like this dude's making of these films and like all, because he does like before he makes these films he makes handmade sculptures of like the creatures. Like the real life like scale model of the freaks is fantastic.
If you read this, if you find this book, well, first that pile of bones next to it is probably me. And second, I have no
This will
answers.
probably be the last one.
But I can tell you what I've seen and what I know.
You ready for backstory?
She
I
got
call
them
this
like.
place town. I always write this one with a capital T because I think this is where I'm from.
Oh, so glamorous.
It didn't always look like this. I was probably born in a hospital to a family with a home.
Oh.
I don't remember its name, don't remember their names, don't know what happened. I was too young. But there's nothing there anymore. Between towns, there's hundreds of miles of nothing. And the nothing can get really weird sometimes.
Fuck you, gravity.
I collect pieces. They're not as old as everything else, and I'm following the breadcrumbs. I find books like mine on the bones of people like me that didn't make it as far. Some of the books speak of a town where there are still people and borders, a place where the children are safe and everyone is pretty. It sounds like a paradise. I hope it's real.
No. It's not nice. It's not good. Hello?
They're called freaks. That's what the books I find call them anyway. They're everywhere.
They just
I
seem
think
like
they
they're
had something
vibing.
to do with capital T town. Maybe all towns. They're the only living things I ever see out here. Some are alone. Others stick together, migrating to who knows where. But most just sit and watch from a distance. Some follow until they just stop. But others don't seem to see me at all. I try to avoid them as much as I can, but eventually, inevitably,
one will get curious and close. They can be extremely violent if you don't behave.
Oh. Oh. Ah, he's just giving you helpful directions.
They may have killed everything and everyone I knew, but I don't hate them. Sometimes I get the feeling they're as homeless as I am.
Oh, what in the goddamn are you, ma'am?
I don't sleep anymore. Something doesn't make sense. I'm finding more pieces, more people. They're getting more frequent and I'm getting closer, but the more I think about it, it doesn't make sense. All these people going the same way, away. A place so pretty and perfect. Why? Why would they leave?
Leave. Yeah, why would they leave? Oh no, sir, don't go there. Do not. Wouldn't he be like immediately labeled oh he is, isn't he? Oh wow. I was about to say, wouldn't he be a freak? So wait a minute. So it's yeah. So but he doesn't see himself. But do others see him as a?
That's the question.
So do they all see themselves as human, but see everyone else as freaks? But
We don't know.
so then it.
They don't explain it. Not after. I don't think they explained it in Model Citizen, Friendly Shadow, or Immortal Machine.
I mean, it's a fascinating concept. Because now I'm sad, because now I know he's gonna get, like, shot on sight for sure. And I liked him.
I
But,
liked
like,
him too.
So he sees them as freaks, but he doesn't see himself as one, so whoever they are must see him. That would explain why some are violent and some get curious, because it's like people killing monsters to protect themselves or being like, interesting monster. I know my thoughts aren't making any sense.
Yeah, it's a fascinating concept because I can't remember. Besides Autodale, I think.
Figured it out.
No, Merry Madness and Strange and Scary don't connect. That's a separate universe. But yeah, like, because there's a lot too of, if you like, the makings of for like almost all of these. Most of it's just the art. He doesn't go particularly into the story. There's the clay sculpture of the freak. So yeah, there's some lore, backstory and lore.
I guess
the hive.
Why is everyone who's not in Autodale a freak? And then why is everyone in Autodale human? But then again, is it just how they see each other? Like, because he saw himself as a person. So, is it all just one big metaphor for prejudice? I don't
know.
I
honestly don't know. It might just be prejudice.
I don't understand.
It's a fascinating concept. If you want, we could finish what's currently out after I end the stream, so we could try and get more lore. We could also watch the things like talking about like the hive, the matriarchs, the mayor. The mayor is in Immortal Machines.
Yeah, maybe okay.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating, but I will end that quickly. So for now, oh my god, you're gonna have to see me twice. Whoa. But for now, that is it. That has been Spoopy Scary time. I thank you all for joining, and of course, a big thank you to RodKeel over here for curating most of the stream with his choice of stories and videos. I thought they were really good, and I hope you guys enjoyed them as well.
I'm gonna make a teensy tiny plug. I'm gonna take advantage of the fact that yes, we're pointing out I did the horror stuff. If you like horror as much as I do, and you liked my taste in horror, please visit me on my channel. I plan on playing more horror games.
I will actually put the link, the collab link to RodKeel's channel right now. So yeah, if you want to
Yes.
see more stuff like this from him, he also frequently plays Dead by Daylight.
Yes, and I'm planning on doing a full playthrough of all of the Dead Space games in preparation for the remake.
Mm-hmm.
So if you'd like to see someone play all of Dead Space, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. So you better get over there and you better subscribe and check him out. But for
And also
now,
subscribe to Nakara. She's very cool.
oh thank you. All right. But for now, that is it. And you know, speaking of Dead by Daylight, I'm gonna send y'all over to Haphazard.
Yeah, we raiding?
Yeah, we're raid, and we're
Raid.
sending you to Haphazard DM, who is currently actually also playing Dead by Daylight.
We
And it's
raid
been a hot minute
boys.
since I rated Haphazard anyway, so I think he deserves some love. So go over there, say hi to Haphazard, ask him about his D&D campaign. He's got podcasts out. I recently saw one of his new episodes came out like a couple days ago. So if you're interested in D&D, go check that out as well. But I will see you guys next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.